Hi, everyone. Welcome to your March 2024 horoscopes. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be going through the main aspects and transits of March, and I'll be discussing this for all 12 zodiac signs. So that's Aries right through to Pisces. And you can watch this horoscope for your ascendant, sun, and moon sign. Now, I would recommend that you watch all three. In terms of the distinction between the three horoscopes and what you can expect, first of all, generally speaking, the ascendant sign horoscope will be the most accurate for you overall, and the sun sign horoscope will pertain to your career and your big goals and dreams for the future. Having said that, uh, if you are male, if you have a lot of masculine energy, or if you have lots of goals and you're just generally speaking a goal-oriented person, then you may really resonate with your sun sign horoscope anyway. And for the moon sign horoscope, this will relate to your experiences with your family. So family dynamics, parents, children, as well as your relationships, because the moon rules over your relationships. The moon also rules over our emotions. So the moon horoscope can pertain to, let's say, psychological influences and experiences. And if you're wanting information on your property and living circumstances, as well as your relationships, then watch your moon sign horoscope. Also, if you are female, or if you have a lot of feminine energy, or if you just identify as someone who's very emotional, then the moon sign horoscope is where it's at, and you will likely really resonate with the moon sign horoscope. In saying that, I really would watch all three. I personally find that when I write these horoscopes and when I deliver them, that all three of my ascendant, sun, and moon sign horoscopes relate to me personally. But of course, just take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Now, you can, sorry, that's not a good sign straight from the beginning. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, as well as TikTok and Telegram. So that's just my CAISTROLOGY handle. So if you want more content, you can follow me there. And I will be providing timestamps in the description box and in the comment section after this live stream has aired. If you want to help me out, please write down the timestamps. If you happen to notice them, if you can chuck those in the comment section, that would really, really help me out. And before I get into it, of course, please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content, and please hit the like button if you enjoy this video, and feel free to share it around. So before I get into Aries, I just want to talk about what we can expect in terms of the astrological energy of March, as well as what I'm going to be going into in this live stream in your horoscopes. So, first of all, we've got a new moon in Pisces, and that will be on the 10th of March. Now, we're also going to have the sun entering the sign of Aries on the 20th of March. So this marks the beginning of the astrological year. So this is a huge, huge deal for everybody. So if 2024 didn't start off exactly as you had planned, if you haven't yet written down your goals and dreams for the year ahead, don't worry, because as far as us astro people are concerned, the new year hasn't even started. We're actually wrapping up the end of the year until we get to the 20th of March. So the next 3 or 4 weeks, depending on when you're watching this really, is all about closing out cycles. It's the ending of certain chapters. And then boom, from the 20th of March, this is when these new beginnings can take place. So lastly, I will be looking at the full moon eclipse in Libra at 5 degrees, which is taking place on the 25th of March. Now, something else to note is we will be in eclipse season energy, actually from now, because we're 4 weeks away from this full moon eclipse. So full moon, let's say eclipse energy can dredge up emotions from the past, emotional episodes from the past. You can feel like time is speeding up. You can be experiencing strong emotions, whether these are emotions of joy and happiness or sadness and inner turmoil and conflict. You may be experiencing feelings of anxiety. That's pretty common with eclipses, as well as disturbed sleep patterns. So, for some of you, this can manifest as sleeping more than normal, especially because we are in Pisces season at the moment. And for others of you, this could come through as a bit of insomnia or just having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. So, this is very common with eclipse energy. So, don't freak out if this is what you are already experiencing. And because this eclipse is occurring in Libra, this means that we're going to see very powerful and significant developments and shifts in our personal relationships. So these can be romantic, marriage, as well as business partnerships, friendships. Libra just rules over relationships in general. So there are some big changes coming through in that department. Now, we are going to experience Mercury retrograde in April. So that will actually start at the very beginning of April on the 1st. So we're going to be in this pre-shadow period from about the 18th of March. So what that means is even though Mercury retrograde won't start until the beginning of April, you're going to feel like you're in Mercury retrograde from certainly around the 18th of March, if not before. And I say that because Mercury is currently in the sign of Pisces, and Mercury is not happy in Pisces. So you may already feel like Mercury retrograde stuff is sort of happening. So, with that being said, build in extra buffers for travel of all kinds, whether this is by car, plane, train, whatever it is, and build in additional timeframes for project deadlines or meetings or even important appointments. You may just forget them because Mercury in Pisces can be forgetting that energy of forgetting appointments. And like I said, we've got this eclipse energy combined with Mercury retrograde pre-shadow. So it's going to be a bit of a whirlwind of different emotions. And anyway, enough of the preamble. I hope that you're all well, and thank you for those of you who are joining me here live today. I'm now going to get stuck into Aries. Okay, so this is for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Risings. You can watch for all three, or you can watch for other people who you know are Aries in your life. So, Aries. The new moon in Pisces is going to take place in your 12th house, where Pisces energy is associated with the 12th house as it is. And this will take place on the 10th of March at 20 degrees. Now, with this new moon, it's all about a new beginning taking place or a new chapter, right? And the 12th house rules over creativity, spirituality, and it also rules over charity and donations. So the higher octave or the higher manifestation of this new moon and this new beginning taking place in your 12th house can indicate a new creative project taking off, you getting more into spirituality, or you investigating some kind of new spiritual practice or modality. The lower manifestation or vibration of Pisces energy and the 12th house is self-sabotage, repressed feelings, a lack of boundaries, as well as did I say repressed emotions and feelings? I think I did. But really, this can be our subconscious fears and blockages working against us in the sense that we self-sabotage because we maybe don't feel deserving of what we truly want, or we're scared of even bringing something positive into our lives because we may be really, really comfortable with negativity, as crazy as that sounds. So there could be a new chapter that is starting when it comes to one or more of these areas. Now, The 12th house is also associated with isolation. It's associated with our past life energy as well. So some of you may be going into a period of isolation. This could be voluntary. So maybe you're going on a spiritual retreat. Maybe you're just taking time out to really get absorbed in your spiritual practices and your creative practices. But on a different level, the downside of this could be you feeling like you're being forced into not being social. You're being forced into retreating from the world and this period of isolation. Now, on the 23rd of March, Mars, which is your ruling planet, is going to enter the sign of Pisces. So Mars is your ruling planet. Anytime our chart ruler, anytime our ruling planet goes into the 12th house, it has to be noted that this is a period where we can experience lower levels of motivation, lower levels of, let's say, drive and willpower. And for some of us, we can just feel like we want to lay low. We don't really want to socialize. We don't want to go out there and take care of business. And, Mars is not comfortable in the 12th house. So I'm only flagging this with you because if, the new year starts on the 20th of March and you're like, yay, this is my season. This is my time to come alive and I should be feeling on top of the world. Mars being in your 12th house can delay that energy, and Mars will be in Pisces from the 23rd of March for the next 5.5 weeks. Okay, so now Mars being in the 12th house indicates what you are putting your energy, effort, and attention towards or into. So you can be really pursuing a creative project. Maybe this is to do with photography, which the 12th house rules over, or music, which the 12th house also rules over. This can be you dedicating yourself to perhaps a meditation practice or a yoga practice or some kind of healing treatment. Okay. On a different note, this can see you definitely needing more sleep, I want to say, but this can be juxtaposed by you feeling like you can't get a good night's sleep. So that's just something to be mindful of. You may just not have as much energy as usual, but that's not to say that March is a bust. At the end of the day, this is your season, Aries. So ultimately, with the sun entering the sign of Aries on the 20th of March, you can really put something to bed or close out a chapter from the last 12 months. And for some of you, it could be that you really wanted to start something new and fresh in 2023, and it just didn't happen. So over the last 12 months, there may have been like big goals and dreams, and you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this happen. And it didn't get off the ground. Guess what? This year, it's your time to shine. It's your time to make this happen. Now, what's different about this astrological year versus the start of the last astrological year? Well, the North Node is in Aries at the beginning of this astrological year, which means that the next 12 months, this is like a solar return chart, but for everyone in terms of the astrological year. So the new year starting with the North Node being in Aries indicates that the next 12 months, it's about accelerated new beginnings for you. Okay. And also deep healing is going to take place because Mercury will be conjunct Chiron in Aries, and there'll be a 3-degree orb, but there'll be a lot of healing taking place. Mercury is about communication, so you'll be speaking your truth. Mercury is also about your friendships as well as siblings and relatives. So healing can be taking place in that department as well. Now, at the end of the month, on the 25th of March, there will be a full moon eclipse in Libra, and this will be taking place at 5 degrees in your 7th house. So Libra is already naturally aligned with the 7th house, and the 7th house rules over partnerships and relationships of all kinds. Full moons, especially full moon eclipses, are about endings taking place or the closing out of a chapter. So, for you, Aries individuals, you can see certain romantic relationships either coming to a close. So, you could be getting closure on previous romantic relationships. Some of you may decide that, it's time for you and your significant other to go your separate ways. But I don't want you Aries individuals to watch this and think, okay, Cailin saying that all of my relationships are ending. That's definitely not the case. And that is because this full moon eclipse is trining Pluto at 1 degrees Aquarius. So the trine aspect is really helpful. It's really beneficial, but it being at 1 degrees indicates that there's new uncharted territory that's being explored. And Pluto can have this regenerative, healing, transformative energy. So, for those of you who are in romantic relationships and you're staying in these romantic relationships, good for you. This indicates that you are taking your existing status of your romantic partnership and transforming it and transmuting it into something else, into another state of being where there's more intimacy, more vulnerability, and where there's actually peace and harmony within this relationship. And 5 degrees is the Leo degree. So maybe this is you and your significant other having more fun, reviving the spark in your relationship, putting more passion and energy into your intimate life, into your sex life. Now, on a different note, this can indicate that your business partnerships and relationships are transforming. Yes, some of you may be walking away from certain collaborations, from certain business partnerships. And for others of you, though, you could be taking this to the next level. You can be realigning your values with you and your business partner to something which is more centered around your true passions and that which you feel connected to in a dharmic sense, because 5 degrees is the Leo degree, which is all about joy, fun, our raw talent, our raw passion, and creativity. So you can feel like you're letting go of business models and services that no longer serve you, and that you are making space for more fun and, let's say, services or producing or selling products that are more connected to your heart center and that make you feel joyous and that make you come alive. Now, lastly, with this full moon eclipse, all kinds of relationships, whether these are romantic, friendships, business partnerships, or even the clients that you have, will be harmonized and stabilized, and you'll be able to let go of the relationships that no longer serve you. But this letting go process, this sacrificial energy, will allow you to protect and nurture the relationships and the partnerships that you genuinely care about. And I'm saying this because the ruler of this eclipse is Venus, and Venus is at 16 degrees, and this is the Cancer degree. So, Cancer is the sign of the crab, it's also the sign of motherhood. Okay, so Cancer has this hard shell because it's protecting this soft underbelly, this inside, right? The guts of what we care about, just to put it in a crass way. And so it's like by letting go of obligations and promises and clients and business partners and relationships that don't serve you, you can channel all of this love and passion and nurturing energy towards relationships that are going to be truly equal and which are really about give and take and an equal energy exchange. So, Aries, that is your astrology horoscope. I am going to pull a card for the month. So, this will be your word of the month. I did this last time. A lot of you were really into it. Some of you said it's not your thing. So, I've decided to put this at the very end. So, you don't have to stick around, but this is your word of the month for those of you who are interested, Aries. We've got within. Okay, so this month is all about going within. This month is about looking at what you really care about, what's deep within you that you want to nurture and that you want to bring out into the world. Okay, so this month will be about you actually understanding what it is that you care about more than anything else in the world. So Aries, that's all I have for you for March. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I am now going to move on to Taurus. So this will be for my Taurus sun, moon, and risings. I myself am a Taurus, so a Taurus sun, so I always love to do my Taurus horoscopes. Okay. Taurus, Taurus, Taurus. The new moon for you is occurring in your 11th house. New moons are all about a new beginning taking place, a new chapter. We're planting the seeds to see something new. We're nurturing these, we're watering these. So, this can be a download of information that comes through for you. The 11th house rules over community, friendship, passive and residual forms of income, our long term goals and dreams for the future. It also rules over awards and accolades. The 11th house is associated with the pension, scholarships, and government support of all kinds. Now, the 11th house rules over social media, and it also rules over project management. Okay, so these big, complicated, intricate projects where there's lots of moving pieces, that's the 11th house energy. So it rules over complicated, interconnected systems. So this new moon can indicate for many of you that there's a new beginning and a new chapter taking place, which relates to or is focused around one or more of those aforementioned areas. So some of you may be forming new friendships, building new communities. You may be walking away from an existing community. And I say that because even though the new moon is about a new beginning, it's in the sign of Pisces, and Pisces is the sign of letting go and no boundaries. So, and sacrifice. So, you may actually be sacrificing one community for another community. You may be letting go of one friendship, and a new friendship may be forming in its place. Not to replace the other individual or that friendship, but it could just be that as something new starts, something old leaves our life. Now, for others of you, you can be planting the seeds to start a new passive form of income or residual form of income. So you could be working really hard on setting yourself up financially to be taken care of, in the sense that this will allow you to maybe take a step back from your day job, take a step back from the other work that you're doing. Or maybe this is to put financial systems in place which allow you to work on other goals and dreams of yours. And maybe these are not to do with work. Maybe you want to start a family. Maybe you are looking at taking maternity leave, and you're just having something additional in the bank for yourself. Now, on a different note, this can indicate that you are developing this deep passion about some kind of humanitarian cause. And maybe you are forming a new group or a new community that is centered around that. And this could be underpinned by spiritual values, hence Pisces. You could be joining a group or a community which has a spiritual basis or undertones. Now, on a different note, some of you may be starting a new social media platform or channel. Some of you may be making cuts to your existing social media profiles or presence in order to focus on that which is truly important to you. And for others of you, you could simply be having downloads of information about exciting new long-term goals and dreams that you're perhaps developing the business model for or the skeleton of, just so you can understand what direction you want to go in and what you need to prioritize. Now, on the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Pisces. Okay, so I will talk about the new astrological year in a moment, but this just dovetails nicely in with what I'm saying, because the new moon happens on the 10th of March. Then on the 23rd, Mars comes in for backup. So these new ideas, these new seeds that have sprouted around the 10th of March, plus or minus 1 or 2 weeks, with community and friendship and your long-term goals and dreams and these passive forms of income, and what's happening with maybe your pension, your scholarship, or getting government support, or even online learning. All of this is supported by Mars, because Mars is here for 5.5 weeks on the 23rd. And wherever Mars goes, this is where we put our energy and drive and passion and effort into. So Mars in the 11th house is like, okay, it's time for me to work towards these long-term goals and dreams. And with Mars ruling the 12th house for Taurus, which is Aries, this is for many of you, especially if you're watching an astrology / tarot channel or CAISTROLOGY. Anyway, let's just say if you're interested in astrology, there's these spiritual leanings that you probably have. For most of you, maybe not all of you. And so with Mars ruling the 12th house, it's like, okay, my long-term goals and dreams are backed by my spiritual values and learnings. And with with Mars ruling the 12th house, maybe there's a period of isolation from your friends, because the ruler of the 12th is going to the 11th. So this could be letting go of certain friendships, not having access to certain friendships, the loss of certain friendships, or even the reduction in your supporters online or your fan base because of certain choices that you're making, but that are in alignment with your spiritual values. And, if it's a case of, do I want to hold on to what I have because of the quantity, because there's a lot of it? Or do I want to pursue what I feel called to pursue spiritually at the expense of what I already have? Then yes, in many cases, I don't want to speak for all of you because it's a general reading, but making this sacrifice is necessary for you to be in alignment with your spiritual group, let's say your spiritual family. And for others of you, you could be sacrificing time with your partner, because Mars rules over the 7th house, in order to focus on these long-term goals and dreams, in order to focus on these community projects or these community values. And, maybe this is for you to be able to work on new collaborations with others. And it's like, okay, there's less relationship time, there's less time with my partner, so that I can focus on this. Now, some of you may be relinquishing work that you have with a certain business partner or client. So it's like, okay, what we had was good, but this isn't in alignment anymore. And I'm going to have to let go of this so that I have time to work towards or on what's truly important to me. Now, it has to be said that Mars in the 11th house can indicate disagreements with friends, disagreements with older siblings, which the 11th house rules over, or perhaps getting a bit of negative feedback or criticism from people who support you, especially if you're online, if you have a social media presence or some kind of supporter base or fan base. But at the end of the day, you will be shown who is your ride or die, for want of a better term, and who's really in it for the long haul, who is going to go to bat for you, which is Mars, who's going to fight for you, who is in alignment with your goals and dreams for the future. Okay, so On the 20th of March, now we're going back and forth a little bit in the timeline. Nevertheless, the sun is going to enter the sign of Aries. Okay, so the new astrological year will begin for you, Taurus. And ultimately, this is a perfect time for you to set your goals and dreams for the next 12 months. Maybe you want to set yourself up with a 12-month astrology reading. Maybe you want to pull a tarot card reading for yourself. Maybe you want to, even if it's like not spiritually driven or based, this is a great time for you to just look at what you want to achieve month to month, quarter to quarter, season to season, and, you know, basically align yourself with your goals for the future and the next 12 months, because the new year truly starts on the 20th of March for everyone. I mean, obviously we have the new year on the 1st of January, but if you want to align yourself astrologically speaking, look at the zodiac seasons. Now, for Taurus individuals, Aries season is the season that precedes our season. So Aries season can often be a bit of a lull for Taurians. So this can be a time where you go within. This can be a time where you're not feeling super social. This can be a time where, energy levels may be on the decline. Motivation levels may be on the decline. So if you need to take stock of the year that's been, if you need to conserve your energy so that you can be all systems go when it comes to our season, which starts around the 20th of or 21st of April, then do what you need to do, Taurus, and that'll be completely fine. Now, on the 25th of March, there will be a full moon eclipse in the sign of Libra. And this will be taking place in our sixth house at 5 degrees. Now, even though this eclipse is making a quincunx or an inconjunction to us, which means that Libra energy has nothing to do with Taurus energy. It's not the same element. We're earth, Libra is air. It's not the same modality. We're fixed, Libra is cardinal. It's not even the same polarity. We're feminine, we're yin, Libra is yang, it's masculine. What Libra and Taurus do have in common is that Venus rules both signs. So this eclipse will affect you more than you would ordinarily think on the face of it. The sixth house rules over work, our day-to-day life, the working habits and routines that we have. It rules over the office space, whether you're going to an office, whether you're working from home. It also rules over employees, anyone that we're paying to carry out services for us. It rules over health, diet, and our exercise regime. It rules over our habits and routines as well as vices. It rules over pets. The sixth house rules over mortgages, loans, and it also is associated with legal matters and anything that's out of balance. Now, Libra is literally the sign of balance. It's ruled by the scales. So this full moon eclipse for Taurus can see us having to potentially let go of work practices that no longer serve us. All right. So this can be a reduction of the hours that we keep. For some of you, maybe walking away from a job altogether, relinquishing certain responsibilities in the workplace, or letting go of services that you offer so that you can prioritize what's important. On a different note, because this full moon eclipse is trining Pluto at 1 degrees, it is allowing us to pursue uncharted territory, something new in our lives. And Pluto's in the 10th house, which rules over our public status. So maybe you've got bigger fish to fry and you're having to let go of certain day-to-day tasks in order to take on different responsibilities or more responsibility in another area of your life, even if it's completely separate. Or it could be to pursue something different in your work profile. Now, for others of you, this can indicate that you are letting go of habits and routines that no longer serve you. These could be kicking bad habits. These can be cutting out certain things from your diet. This could be, for some of you, things like sugar. Maybe some of you are going vegetarian or going vegan. On a different note, others of you could realize that you have certain allergies, and so you're needing to let go of maybe gluten or whatever it is that you've discovered that you're allergic to. Now, with the sixth house ruling over pets, some of you may be parting ways with a pet, and for others of you, it could be that um, and I don't want you guys to freak out. We're all very sensitive about our pets, myself included. For others of you, this can be an issue that you have with your pet, or that your pet has been put to bed. So maybe your pet has gone through a period of ill health, and now your pet is healthier. Maybe you've discovered what it is that your pet needs in the way of diet, or in the way of an environment. Maybe you are having a temporary break from your pet. So, for example, some of you may be new parents, and maybe a friend or a family member is looking after your dog or your cat while you're going through this, maybe, let's say, phase of raising a newborn, and this could be like a temporary situation. Now, for others of you, you may be paying off a loan, paying off a mortgage. You could be getting your tax back. The South Node can actually indicate that something from the past is coming back around. All right. So some of you may be reunited with a pet. Okay. Some of you may be going back to a old job, or maybe if you haven't been working, you're now returning to the workforce. And if that is the case, I do think this is going to be in a new capacity because of this trine to Pluto at 1 degrees. Now, on a different note, this can indicate that you are letting go of one-sided partnerships and one-sided relationships, because Libra is a sign of partnership and relationships, and the sixth house is anything that's out of balance. So this indicates that this harmonizing effect is taking place. So you could be having some very important conversations with a business partner, with a client, with a friend, or with your significant other, where you are um, let's say, ironing out your differences. But for some of you may realize that certain connections and relationships need to go. So, Taurus, I'm now going to pull a card for you for the word of the month. That was your astrological component. Of course, if you enjoyed this horoscope, if you enjoyed this reading, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. And now let's have a look at your word of the month. We've got peace, which incidentally is what Libra rules over. So in some way, shape, or form, Taurus, I feel like you are going to be making peace with something in your life that has really been troubling you, that may have been having you being kept up late at night. So Taurus, you can really be embracing peace in the month of March. And now I'm going to move on to Gemini. But first, let me have a little tea break. Okay, so this is for Gemini sun, moon, and risings. I'm a Gemini rising myself, so I do always love to do the Gemini horoscopes, of course. A little bit biased there. Gemini, you guys are, or we are going to be experiencing Mercury retrograde energy, as I mentioned in the intro, from the 18th of March. But I'm actually going to say that energy is already being felt, because we've got Mercury in Pisces, and Mercury is not happy in the sign of Pisces. So whenever Mercury is in Pisces, we can experience forgetfulness. We can experience issues with travel, missing appointments, technological issues and breakdowns. And, as I said, Mercury retrograde starts on the 18th, and then for most of April, will be in Mercury retrograde anyway. So it's just something to be mindful of. It's not really a big deal. We experience this, we experience Mercury retrograde 3, if not 4 times a year, for about 3 weeks-ish on average. So it's just something to be mindful of as we start the season, as we start March, I mean to say. Now, on the 10th of March, there will be a new moon in Pisces, and the 10th house rules over our public status, our professional status, and our public image. So it's not just about work, guys. The 10th house rules over, but with respect to work, our work profile and our job title, as well as our employment status, gainfully employed, in between jobs, you're working casually, part-time, full-time, are you retired, are you self-employed? The 10th house rules over all of these things. It rules over statuses of all kinds, though. So we're also looking at relationship status. So this can be, whether you're single, in a relationship, married, divorced. This can also indicate how you identify, so gender identity as well as sexual preferences. Now, even though the 8th house rules over sex and the 5th house is also connected to our sex life, the 10th house is like, what are we putting out there? What are we publicly announcing? What's public information? So if you're coming out in one way or another, then this is denoted by the 10th house. The 10th house also rules over our parental status. So this could be whether you are a parent, soon to be parent, expecting, single parent, step parent, adoptive, foster, or maybe empty nester. The same applies to grandparents. Okay, so with the new moon taking place here in the 10th house, it's a new chapter that's starting. We're planting the seeds for something new. So even though the new moons are about these new beginnings, it doesn't mean that everything's happening immediately. So you could be working towards changing your job. You could be working towards changing your employment status, transitioning into retirement, or transitioning from a full-time job into starting your own business or becoming self-employed, or upping the ante from casual to part-time, or part-time to full-time, or whatever it may be. You could be applying for changes to permanent residency, especially because this new moon is conjunct Saturn, and Saturn rules the 9th house. So this could be permanent residency, citizenship status, disability status as well. You could be applying for a disability pension or some kind of concession. And for others of you, you could be starting the process to look at becoming an adoptive parent or a foster parent, or starting a family. On a different note, this can indicate that it's maybe more about not necessarily taking these tangible steps or actions, but deciding what you want in terms of leadership responsibilities. Who do you want to be in the world? How do you want to be seen? What legacy do you want to create? What legacy do you want to perpetuate? And for others of you, this is like, how do you want to be viewed? How do you want to be referred to? How do you want to be spoken about? What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want to contribute to the world at large? Or this could even just be in your local community. This doesn't need to be making a big splash and having everyone in the world know your name. This could just be like, me, myself, and I. What am I here to do? What do I want to be remembered for after I'm gone? What good do I want to contribute? Now, with this new moon in Pisces occurring at 20 degrees, it's the Scorpio degree. So there's something unexpected here, something transformative, but also something rapid that's taking place. Now, Mars will also be squaring Uranus at the time of this new moon in Pisces. And let me just check. I just want to confirm the degrees before I carry on. Yeah, Mars is at 20 degrees Aquarius. Uranus is at 19 degrees Taurus. So Uranus is sextiling the new moon. So it's super supportive of this fast-paced radical change. But the energy of this new moon is that it might catch you off guard. You may have really committed to a certain path or to a certain timeline, and then you're like, oh my God, I want to speed things up. I want this sooner rather than later. And the reason I'm saying sooner is because the Mars square Uranus aspect is like fast paced change. And so is the Scorpio degree at 20 degrees. So you may have to move quickly to plant these seeds or to get this new beginning off the ground. So this can be moving quickly towards a change of job, a change of profile, a change of employment status, organizing your paperwork really quickly to apply for maybe something to do with education, because Saturn is conjunct the new moon ruling the ninth house. So this could be teaching, learning. This could be quickly organizing yourself to apply for a disability concession, pension, something to do with citizenship, or something to do with relocating, or maybe this is even to do with your marital status. You may be going through a divorce. You may be looking to get married, and there may be a sense of urgency with this new moon that is coming through. On the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Pisces. So Mars will be here for 5.5 weeks. Mars is coming in for backup, and Mars is a planet which works real quick. So again, we have this sense of urgency, but we have all this energy that we're channeling towards this new beginning. Mars rules the sixth house, which represents work, employees, health, daily habits, routines, pets, discord, disagreement, and also legal paperwork. So these aforementioned things may be, there may be adjustments that are required, or energy and effort, which is born from these things, which support this new chapter that's coming through. So, for example, if you're applying for some kind of change in, let's say, citizenship status, relationship status in an official capacity, or you're applying for a government pension in some way, shape, or form, then Mars ruling the sixth house indicates the legal paperwork that you have to do. Now, for some of you, if you want to, let's say, become a parent, then maybe you're having to change your daily habits and routines and work on your health. Now, if you are wanting to change your job, or you're wanting to apply for a promotion, then again, all of this work that you're going to have to put through is being shown by Mars ruling your sixth house, which is Scorpio for us Geminis. Now, Mars also rules over the 11th house, and the 11th house represents the long-term vision and goals and dreams for the future, multiple pieces or multiple parts being moved around concurrently and simultaneously. So there may be lots of intricate details that you need to take into account, or there's a lot of stuff in the fine print that you need to sift through. You may require the assistance or help of a community or your friends, or you could be working towards a community-based goal where you are like at the center of it all, right? So Mars rules the 11th house. So this represents your community and your group, your friendship group. But Mars being in the 10th house and supporting this new moon is like, hey, you're the figurehead. You're the person who has this leadership position, or you're in the position of leadership, or you hold a lot of power. And so you need to wield all of this influence and utilize your community, let's say, objectives and values for the best and highest good of everyone. Okay. On the downside, Mars being in the 10th house can indicate that you are maybe not getting along well with your boss, maybe having disagreements with your boss. Mars in the 10th house can indicate that you're under the microscope. So this is a time, again, the 23rd of March for the next 5.5 weeks, where you may be, let's say, more targeted when it comes to law enforcement, or even just like governments, bodies being audited, that kind of thing. So this is a time where you can be pulled over for speeding, not doing the right thing. Mars ruling the sixth house can indicate that you may be getting audited for tax purposes, or that you're just putting a lot of energy and effort into changing your status, which somehow connects to tax benefits. Now, that's about it for this transit. On the 20th of March, the sun is going to enter the sign of Aries in your 11th house. So there's this new, let's say, astrological year that's beginning, this new 12-month period or 12-month cycle that's occurring. Now, how us Geminis are impacted is that Mercury, which is our ruling planet, is conjunct Chiron in Aries. Having said that, the North Node is in Aries at the time of the sun entering Aries. So the reason I'm mentioning this is because whatever other transits are occurring at the time that the sun enters Aries, this is like the solar return chart for the year for everyone. So your chart ruler being conjunct Chiron indicates that this next 12-month period will very much be centered around healing on a really deep level, healing your thought patterns and processes, how you communicate, speaking your truth, maybe healing relationships with your sibling or siblings or with friends, maybe having to walk away from certain friendships. But at the end of the day, this can also indicate that you as Geminis are actually aligning to and connecting to the inner healer, okay, the teacher within, the spiritual leader within. And so this may actually be a year where you step up to the plate and you help other people around you. Because the North Node is in Aries at the time of the new astrological year, this indicates that these are accelerated new beginnings that are taking place. So anything that you target, that you want to focus on, that you want to change and shift, boom, it can be done so much quicker than how long it would ordinarily take for you guys, or for us Geminis, I should say. Lastly, for the month, on the 25th of March, there's a full moon eclipse in Libra at 5 degrees, and it's in the fifth house. The fifth house rules over our love life, dating life, romance, sex life as well. The fifth house rules over children. It rules over creativity, creative projects. It rules over starting your own business or owning your own business. It also rules over your hobbies and passions and things that you're naturally talented at or gifted in. And it also rules over taking risks and leisure and fun. So with this full moon in Libra, full moon eclipse, I dare say, it is making a trine to Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degrees. Now, the full moon is trining Gemini as it is anyway. So these aforementioned topics, right? Children, love life, hobbies, passions, owning your own business, fun, etc. This is what the full moon eclipse is centered around. So it's time to ask yourself, are you making time for these things? Do you want to experience some of these things with other people? Are there partnerships or relationships in your life that are detracting from you pursuing these things that you really want to pursue? Or is there someone who can help you connect to these things? Is there someone who can help foster these talents within you? Is there someone who you want to work in a partnership with or in a collaborative relationship with towards exploring these things that light you up from the inside and that really get you excited? Now, on a different note, this can indicate that your parental style may be called into question here. You're the one calling it in, not anyone else. So you can be looking at, is this in balance? Is this is how I'm parenting my child benefiting my child or my children? Now, even if you don't have children, maybe you're a teacher, maybe you have students, maybe you work in daycare, maybe you work with children, or maybe you just have nieces or nephews, or even your friends' kids. And it's like, how can I be a better role model for them? So, this will be a time where you're really connecting to your heart center, because the full moon eclipse is at 5 degrees, which is the Leo degree, and this full moon eclipse is taking place in the fifth house. So, you can be healing your inner child around this time. You can be reconnecting to creative projects and hobbies that you used to love, but that somewhere along the way you started backing off from. Maybe you love singing or dancing, and someone once told you you've got a terrible singing voice, you can't dance, or that you're not good at sketching, you're not good at painting, or maybe you used to love just doing anything that's related to arts and crafts, and someone said to you, you can never make a living from that, or you're not good enough to be a painter, you're not good enough to be an artist. Maybe someone just told you you're not creative, that's not your talent, but you love these things. And so there's like this paradox that you experience where you're drawn to creative and artistic pursuits, but you have this inner monologue or this inner voice where it's like, I'm not creative, I'm not good at this, what business do I have dancing, painting, writing, drawing, etc., etc. But the full moon eclipse is harmonizing this energy, and it's getting you more in touch with these creative pulls and nudges that you are feeling called to explore. Now, for others of you who have children, this can be about you allowing your parent child relationship to meld from one state of being into the next. Maybe you're needing to loosen your grip, or let your child make mistakes, let them fall over, let them fail in a test or a subject, let them not hand in their homework, and see what the consequences are instead of you swooping in to try to save them. So that could be something that's coming up for you. For others of you, you could be letting go of a romantic relationship that no longer serves you. Or if you're in a romantic partnership and you've felt this need to sort of like control things, or always try to keep this relationship in balance, but it's at your expense, maybe you're taking your hands off the wheel and just being like, let go and let God. Whether you believe in God or not, I'm sure you're familiar with the saying. So you can be experiencing a really profoundly deep and spiritual connection with a romantic partner. For others of you, you can be healing from past relationships, past romantic encounters or experiences. Even if these weren't full-blown relationships, maybe it was like unrequited love, feeling rejected in love, and now this full moon eclipse, which is trine Pluto in Aquarius, is allowing you to let go of that and really open yourself up to something new. Ultimately, Gemini, I see this as a time for you to allow these walls to be broken down when it comes to your relationship, your romantic relationships, your relationship with your child or with your children, or at the very least, your relationship with your inner child. And so, Gemini, that's all I have for you for the astrology component. And now I'm going to pull a card for the month. Okay, so this is what Geminis need to know for the month ahead. We've got Rise, and I'm almost wondering whether we got this card last month. So ultimately, this card here, Gemini, indicates that it's time to let whatever is stirring within you rise to the surface. So this may be an emotional release. This may be confessing your feelings to another person. This may be letting out some kind of creative impulse or urge. Or this could be seeing your seeds that you've planted rise, and you're suddenly starting to see progress with something that you've been waiting for a really, really long time to really let's say, start to move forward, start to germinate. So, Gemini, if you enjoyed this horoscope, this reading, please give the video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'm now going to move on to the sign of Cancer. So, just give me one moment though. We better hydrate. And also, oh no, sorry, I dropped my tag in there. Anyway, at the halfway mark after Virgo, I am going to take about a 10-minute break, and then I'll come back and I'll do the next 6 signs. Okay, so this is for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Risings. Now, Cancer, you guys are always going to be affected by eclipses. And that is because you are ruled by the moon. And so in general, Cancers are more affected by full moons than new moons. But in any case, it's eclipse season as of now. So you may already be feeling heightened emotions. You may be having spiritual downloads coming through, psychic downloads coming through. You may be revisiting emotional episodes from the past, or you may just be having pretty crazy dreams right now. That's another way that this can manifest. Nevertheless, let's move on. Let's have a look at the new moon in Pisces. So this is occurring on the 10th of March at 20 degrees, and it will be in your 9th house. The 9th house rules over belief systems of all kinds: spiritual, religious, political, world events, how you believe the world works in general. And it also, it's one-on-one right now as I'm saying this, and it also represents your connection to, let's say, higher spiritual beings. All right. So it's like, it denotes your connection to source, spirit, the divine, whatever you want to call it, basically. The new moon also rules over travel. It rules over higher education. It rules over knowledge, wisdom. And with travel, it also rules over learning about other cultures and foreigners. And the 9th house, as I said, rules over higher education, which also includes teachers, mentors, counselors, people that we go to for guidance. But then it also represents our role to play in teaching other people. So maybe some of you are going to be connecting with new teachers, and some of you may be stepping into the role of teacher or mentor. The 9th house rules over our vision for the future, our sense of faith, optimism. It also rules over adventure, pilgrimages of all kinds, us connecting to our life purpose. And even though I've said it rules over travel, this also indicates relocation. Okay, so relocation or relocating, which involves a journey, even if it's interstate, that's something that I'm going to touch on in a moment. And of course, the 9th house is associated with the law. So new moons are all about new beginnings and new chapters taking place in our life or starting in our life. Now, with this new moon taking place at 20 degrees, which is the Scorpio degree, there is this transformation that's coming through, which is out of the blue. It's unexpected. Mars is going to be squaring Uranus at the same time. It'll be 1 degree off. And the new moon is sextiling Uranus. So we've got, let's say, 3 points or indicators for this fast-paced, rapid change, these impulses to move quickly and to start new beginnings quickly. So some of you may have a radical and unexpected shift in your belief systems or belief system. And this could pertain to spiritual, religious, political. Okay, so maybe you're on one end of the spectrum and now you're on the other. Maybe you are an atheist, and at the time of the new moon, plus or minus 1 or 2 weeks, you're like, no, I believe in something more. And for others of you, you could be going any which way. Even if you're spiritual, you could decide to walk away from the spiritual community and pursue something more like of a religious nature. Think of Doreen Virtue, who let go of spirituality after having created all of these wonderful and beautiful oracle decks, and now she's a Christian, and she's denounced all of everything that she created, in terms of spirituality. So that was just a random example of how you can really just go hard left from whatever it is that you believe in. Now, for others of you, this can indicate the urge to travel, and maybe you're buying a plane ticket out of nowhere. Maybe you're planning a trip and you're like, this is what I'm doing, even though you hadn't previously had plans to travel. Or perhaps you had decided on a certain trip or location, let's say backpacking around Europe, and you're like, no, I want to go to South America. You could just be making some really crazy, well, I don't want to say crazy, but really unexpected changes, which feel like they come up out of the blue when it comes to travel. Now, for others of you, this could indicate that you learned something, right? And it totally changes your value system or your belief systems, or it changes the course and the trajectory of what you felt your life purpose was. And you're like, after having gone on this course, after having learned this thing or having this download, it doesn't even need to be like an education course. You're like, I just see the world differently. I have different priorities. I'm moving in a different direction. And again, there's this sense of urgency. I have to do this. I have to do this now, now, now. Now, on a different note, this can indicate that if you're perhaps enrolled in a certain course or program, that you're changing majors, changing courses. I was doing engineering, now I want to do arts. Or you were working with one teacher or mentor and you're like, I'm just not in a line. Your views, your teachings don't align with me anymore. And I need to separate myself from this connection because, it's just not what I need anymore. On a different note, some of you may have this sudden pull to teach and share what you know with others. And this could be coming through as you wanting to put together course content or some kind of education program, or you want to step into this role of teacher or mentor. And for some of you, it could be like you suddenly want to do this and you're like, oh, I have all this energy to work on this quickly. But for others of you, it could be something which comes up where it's like an opportunity that you have to act on. And it's like, hey, we want you, you're the right person, but TikTok, this is the time frame that you need to get this done, in. Now, there may be a legal matter that comes up around the 10th of March, and you're like, maybe scrambling to bring a case forward or to defend yourself, or maybe you want to apply for something which requires you dealing with lawyers, or you getting legal paperwork together. So for example, this could be for a visa, this could be for change of citizenship status or permanent residency. You could actually decide that you want to get married really quickly. Maybe there's a proposal that comes through, or perhaps there's other reasons that you want, that motivation as to why you want to enter into a new relationship, a marriage suddenly. On a different note, because the Scorpio degree is involved here, as well as Mars square Uranus, it could be that you are deciding that you want to dissolve a marriage, and maybe you're serving divorce papers, against this spouse of yours who you want to separate from. In any case, I just want to focus on the fact that the ninth house is connected to our higher purpose, our dharma, spiritual visions for the future, our connection to source, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it. So this new moon occurring in the ninth house indicates that some positive new chapter is developing and starting in your life, no matter what the surrounding circumstances are. Now, On the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Pisces in your ninth house. So Mars is coming in for backup. So wherever Mars is transiting, this is where we're putting a lot of our energy and our attention and our effort. So Mars going through the ninth house from the 23rd of March for the next 5.5 weeks can indicate that you are working hard on something which is associated with education, learnings. With Mars ruling over your fifth house, this can be channeling a lot of your energy and effort into your hobbies and passions because you're looking at this in terms of the bigger picture. On a different note, you can be, with Mars ruling over your 10th house, which is Aries, you can be working really hard to change your personal status when it comes to your maybe owning your own business, becoming a parent, whether this is starting a family, whether this is becoming an adoptive parent, especially because the ninth house rules over um, let's say travel and other cultures. So maybe you are fostering a child or adopting a child from a different cultural background to you, or a different race. Now, on a different note, it doesn't have to be a different cultural background. You know, the ninth house involves the law. So, of course, if you're becoming an adoptive parent um, a foster parent, then some kind of legal paperwork is going to be involved. So that could be the journey that you're on here. On a different note, with Mars ruling over the 10th house, you can be making long-term plans about your work. And with Mars ruling the fifth house, maybe you're making some long-term plans about the future of your relationship. On a different note, you can be organizing a travel trip, which could be taking up a lot of your energy, time, and attention. You could be working on getting a book published. On a different note, you may be fighting the law on some kind of matter, or you may be experiencing, you may be getting audited if you own your own business, or you may feel like you need to, let's say, challenge some kind of government decision or legal ruling. So there may be some kind of appeal that you are making in a legal court case. Now, on the 20th of March, the sun is going to enter the sign of Aries. So this is a new astrological year that is starting in your 10th house. Now we will have Mercury conjunct Chiron also in Aries, and the North Node being in Aries. So the next 12 months, for those of you who have, I was going to say Aries on the midheaven. So this is more if you're like a Cancer rising, you want to see what you have on your 10th house cusp. But let's say for all intents and purposes, Cancers are going to experience accelerated new beginnings when it comes to, if you're Cancer rising or sun, career status, leadership responsibilities, changes in, let's say, job title, promotions at work, how you identify out in the public. If you're a Cancer moon, this can actually indicate that you are becoming a parent. And again, this can be any kind of parent, you know, biological step, adoptive step parent, maybe a grandparent as well. In any case, I do really see that for Cancers in general, there is some kind of official status change that's occurring in the next 12 months. So this can be relationship, marital, work, and parental responsibilities, or even just how you are viewed and seen in terms of your public image. So, lastly, Cancer, on the 25th of March, there's going to be a full moon eclipse in Libra, and this is occurring at 5 degrees in your fourth house. So, this can indicate that there are big shifts and changes that are happening when it comes to your home life, property matters, real estate, your living circumstances, as well as family. This eclipse can affect your ancestry and lineage, and your understanding and your knowledge surrounding your ancestry and lineage. And also the fourth house rules over our sense of security and our deep emotional self. So Libra rules over our relationships, and it's at 5 degrees, which represents Leo energy. So this is like our romantic life, love life, children, as well as hobbies, passions, and our creative gifts and talents, as well as owning our own business. So full moon eclipses are all about the ending of a chapter taking place, or the ending of a cycle. And with this full moon trining Pluto, there's this regenerative energy that's taking place. And I really don't think that whatever endings and chapters that are coming to a close, or taking place with this eclipse, are like the end in terms of goodbye, see you later, we're never talking again. I see this as like a transmutation and a transference of energy or status from one state of being into the next. Okay, so on that note, with your home life, this can indicate that you are relocating. You may be moving from one place to another. Maybe you'll come back though. Maybe you'll revisit the place that you were leaving from. Maybe this is just, a um, a see you later, and not a forever, see you never kind of thing. On a different note, this can indicate that you are, um, let's say, making a sacrifice in terms of your living circumstances in order to pursue something new and pursue something greater, or that is more in alignment with you. On a different note, this can indicate that you are, um, perhaps having people move out of your home, or you're moving out of, let's say, your flatmate's home. Maybe you're moving out of your parents' home. If your parents have been living with you, maybe they're moving into a retirement village, or they're just getting their own place. On a different note, this can indicate that there are huge downloads taking place when it comes to your family life and family planning. So maybe you're realizing that you do want to be a parent after all, or that you don't want to be a parent, that you don't want a family. Maybe you were trying for another child and you're like, you know what, I'm actually okay with the amount of children that we have. On a different note, this can indicate that you are um, realizing the impact and the influence that your ancestry and lineage, and perhaps your upbringing as it pertains to your parents or whoever were parental figures for you, have really been influencing your preferences when it comes to romantic relationships and dating in your love life. Or maybe the influence of them has influenced how you have been parenting your own children, or even just the kind of partner that you're looking for, or even the place of living that you have been um, seeking or searching for. So maybe you've been looking for a townhouse because, which is in the city, because this is like the pipe dream that your parents had. Or maybe you were wanting to um, live on a farm because your family had a farm and you thought that this was your dream, but then some kind of shift happens with this full moon eclipse, and you're like, this isn't my dream. This isn't where I want to live. This isn't where I want to be. This isn't who I want to live with. This isn't the kind of residence that I want to reside in. This isn't how I want to raise my family. This isn't who I want to be with. And there's like this shifting. I'm just seeing like, all these cogs like suddenly turning, where there's all this sense that's being made of upbringing, ancestry, lineage, family life, inner child wounding, relationship to self, your deep-seated emotional feelings coming to the surface, and blockages being removed. And there's like this sense of harmony and peace, which Libra rules over, which is just flowing in. And it may be very emotional for you around the time of the full moon eclipse on the 25th of March. But after this, I just see you Cancerians having this inner state of calm and peace that you've never felt before. And so, Cancer, that's all I have for you astrologically, but I am going to pull a word of the month for you. And this will be your focus. This is a word that you can come back to and remember, or maybe incorporate in some kind of affirmation. Okay, straight away, we've got joy. Wow. So much joy is coming through for you, Cancer. Okay, so I really feel that you're connecting to your inner child. You're remembering what makes you happy, or at the very least, you're prioritizing what makes you happy. So, Cancer, if you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And I'm now going to move on to the sign of Leo. Okay, so this is for my Leo sun, moon, and risings. Leo, you are ruled by the sun, which means that, like Cancers who are ruled by the moon, you're especially affected by eclipses, more so new moon eclipses than full moon eclipses, but nevertheless, we're in eclipse season, Leo. So it's going to be affecting you. So there may be strong emotions that you're feeling. There may be vivid dreams that you're experiencing. There may be shifts when it comes to how you connect to your inner child, and ultimately, because this full moon eclipse is occurring at the Leo degree, I really do feel like March is going to be about you connecting to your heart center or your heart chakra, and perhaps even experiencing some kind of massive heart chakra opening or healing taking place. Now, on the 10th of March, there will be a new moon in Pisces, and this is occurring at 20 degrees, and it's in your 8th house. Now, the 8th house rules over deep healing, transformation, mutual resources, sex, fertility, and conception, as it is the house of death and rebirth. There's this energy of regeneration and transmutation that is associated with the 8th house. And it's about letting things go and letting things die if they have to be let go of. Okay, and I mean that, this is like in a proverbial sense, right? The 8th house rules over our fears and our insecurities, as well as addictions and vices. It also rules over anything occult and anything esoteric, as well as conspiracy theories, because it's about getting to the deep root and truth of the matter. The 8th house is also associated with things like inheritances, health insurance, private insurance, insurance of all kinds, and taxes. So, the new moon here indicates that there is a new chapter that's taking place, which pertains to one or more of these aforementioned areas. So, this can be a time of deep healing for you Leos. You can be engaging the services of an astrologer, a tarot reader, psychic, medium, anything esoteric, anything to do with energy healing, maybe even acupuncture. Now, for others of you, even if you're not engaging the services of one of these individuals, you could be exploring these areas for yourself. Now, for others of you, you could be deciding that you want to combine your mutual resources with another person, okay? Because the 8th house rules over mutual resources. And also 20 degrees is the Scorpio degree, if I didn't already mention that. So the energy of this house is attuned to the energy of the degree of the new moon as it is. So ultimately, it's very scorpionic. And how this is playing out is very scorpionic. So around the 10th of March, you may be feeling really deep emotions, okay? And these could be taking you by surprise. These could be associated with fears and insecurities that are coming up out of the blue, and you could be feeling a lot of resistance to starting a new chapter. On a different note, this can indicate that you are maybe taking out some kind of new insurance policy or making changes to your existing insurance policy. You may be writing or drawing up a will, let's say, On a different note, this can indicate that you are committing to overcoming certain addictions or vices. You could be committing to overcoming certain fears and insecurities. The eighth house is associated with emotional intimacy and vulnerability. So, this can indicate that you are experiencing emotional intimacy with another person, the likes of which you've never experienced before. And look, this doesn't just have to be in a romantic relationship or partnership or, with your significant other. This could even be with friends, just experiencing that feeling of safety. Like, it's safe for me to put my heart on the line here. It's safe for me to talk about my past or talk about these fears that I have or these insecurities that I have. So, in any case, I do feel that there are some really rapid changes that are coming through for you. Now, on the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Cancer. So, Leo, with Mars ruling over your ninth house and fourth house and going into the eighth house, which is like backing up this new moon energy, you're channeling your energy, attention, and effort into the matters of the eighth house. With Mars ruling the ninth house, your beliefs will surely be challenged, or they will shift on a deep intrinsic level. And this will be a radical shift. Okay. So it's like, it can be beliefs about anything, by the way, spiritual, religious, etc. Or it can just be like how the world works, what I think about, um, you know, let's say source or spirit. And this can indicate that your moral code, which the ninth house rules over, is shifting as well. And so the new moon here in the um, eighth house and having Mars back it up is like, okay, if I want to be a role model, then I need to change how I'm operating and how I'm acting. So, on a different note, with Mars ruling the ninth house, there can be a sense of urgency when it comes to learning something rapidly, because the ninth house rules over education. And with the new moon in Pisces, at the same time, we have Mars squaring Uranus, and both planets have this like sense of like change and urgency. So it's like, oh, I need to learn something really quickly in order to keep up with these new changes that are coming into my life. Now, with Mars ruling over your fourth house, Leo, which for you guys is Scorpio, these changes that are taking place may be motivated by or driven by family values, what you feel is worth preserving or protecting, sudden and rapid changes when it comes to your home life and your living conditions and your living circumstances. So maybe for you guys, it's like, oh, I better separate these assets and resources from another person because things on my home front and on my family front and property front are shifting. Or maybe it's like the opposite of that, where I'm living with another person. We better combine our resources. We better open up a joint bank account. We better figure out insurance together, whether this is, family planning or home insurance or whatever. On a different note, this can indicate that there's a sudden need or urge for you to work quickly and hard for you to provide for your family. Now, that doesn't just have to be for your children. Maybe this is you helping out your parents or someone who is simply dependent on you. Maybe you're a carer in some respect. Just remember, Mars likes the eighth house, guys, because the eighth house is associated with Scorpio energy, and Mars rules over Scorpio. Mars is at home here. Mars does well here. Mars likes to be here. Okay, so with Mars being in the eighth house, not going to lie, for some of you, this can be a surgery that's taking place, but there's this ability to, rapidly and quickly heal from this, because the eighth house has this like restorative, regenerative energy. And with the new moon trining Pluto, it's like whatever I need to heal from, I can do it, and I can do it quick. Now, it needs to be said, though, that the eighth house is the house of accidents, and Mars also rules over accidents. So, with Mars ruling over the fourth house and ninth house, this is my one liner. Be careful when it comes to operating equipment and tools around the house. So accidents around the house and in the home are possible, and while traveling. So just be careful when you're doing those things. And when I say while you're traveling, that's yes, that pertains to when you're like in the car or on planes or whatever. But even if you're like traveling abroad, you just need to be careful during this 5.5 week period of time. Now, I know I'm jumping around a little bit in the timeline, and that is because Mars being in Pisces goes hand in hand with the new moon in Pisces. So I wanted to talk about that together. I have added one additional transit or aspect to discuss, which is only for Leos. I haven't done this for any other sign, and that will be the Sun, which is your ruling planet, conjunct Neptune on the 17th of March at 27 degrees Pisces in the 8th house. So for this one day only, plus or minus 24 hours, this can indicate sudden lethargy, exhaustion, maybe confusion or miscommunications, because it's at the 27th degree, which is the Gemini degree. That's the downside. The upside is spiritual downloads. Wow, just having like clarity, just things being clear as day, what I need to do, the action I need to take. I feel supported divinely and by my spirit guides. I have the power to heal other people with my words. There may even be some kind of telepathic experiences that some of you Leos have around the 17th of March, plus or minus a day. And another way that this can play out is forgiveness and healing, especially when it comes to your siblings, your relatives, and friends. So, Leo, on the 20th of March, the Sun is going to enter the sign of Aries. So, this is a brand new astrological year that's taking place, and it's important to note what other aspects and transits are occurring at the same time as the Sun entering Aries, because this is like the solar return for this astrological year. Now, all I've really focused on is what else is in the sign of Aries. And that will be Mercury conjunct Chiron. So Mercury will be at 21 degrees Aries and Chiron at 18 degrees Aries. And the North Node will also be in Aries at the time of the beginning of Aries season. So all of this is taking place in the 9th house, which means that there are the North Node helps with these accelerated new beginnings that are taking place, ninth house things. So learning things real quick, changing your belief systems, spiritual downloads, religious downloads, understanding world events and how the world works, as well as manifesting into the 3D or into existence your visions for the future. So whatever you're seeing in your mind's eye, you have this like manifester creator type energy that is available to you. Now, Mercury conjunct Chiron in the 9th house also indicates what belief systems do I have that aren't serving me? What belief systems or patterns or ways of viewing the world do I engage in or have or harbor that are hurting me or hurting the way that I communicate, or perhaps even hurting that which Mercury rules over: friends, siblings, relatives? Okay, so in any case, this is an exciting time for you guys, Leo, because there are incredible opportunities from the beginning of this astrological year for the next 12 months when it comes to education, higher learning, obtaining more knowledge and wisdom, as well as travel opportunities. If you want to travel, you can make it happen. If you want to get, a visa, permanent residency, change, or dual citizenship, let's say, this is the year where you can take leaps and strides towards that happening. Okay, so just wanted to put that out there for you guys. Now, lastly, Leo, on the 25th of March, there will be a full moon eclipse in Libra, and this is going to be occurring at 5 degrees in your third house. So the third house rules over communications, how you think, education in terms of like short-term education programs, as well as things like certificates, diplomas, qualifications, and uh, it rules over friends, siblings, relatives, meetings, as well as social media. Okay. And it's a very business oriented house. So this full moon eclipse in Libra in the fifth house can indicate that you may be letting go of connections that no longer serve you, walking away from certain friendships, letting go of certain client relationships, maybe, distancing yourself from certain siblings or relatives. But having said that, the South Node, which is involved with this full moon eclipse, can bring something back for healing and for spiritual ascension. Okay, so you can actually reconnect with friends that you haven't been in contact with, or reconnect with relatives or siblings that you've lost touch with. So there's this beautiful, let's say, energy for healing and transmuting your relationship with one or more of these individuals from one state of being into the next state of being. And I say that because the full moon is making a trine to Pluto, which is at 1 degrees Aquarius. So it's uncharted territory, but there's this healing energy that can come through, and this intimacy and vulnerability that can be coming through in these relationships. But that's only if they are in harmony with you and your vibration. And I say that because Libra rules over peace and harmony. If these individuals, if these connections and these relationships are weighing you down and bringing you down, then ultimately you're going to go your separate paths. But it's not going to hurt you, Leo, or it's not going to be difficult for you to do, because the trine to Pluto brings you this awareness of our karmic connection or our karmic contract is over for now. And maybe this person will come back around in my life later, but not until they've had certain healings take place in their life or certain spiritual upgrades take place in their life. And then once the time is right, we can be reunited. But there is, I feel, this acceptance of a distance or a chasm or a divide that takes place, which is temporary, as long as that person, let's say, has some kind of spiritual ascension over the coming weeks, months, or potentially years. Now, on a different note, this can indicate that you are becoming more gentle with your speech. And it doesn't mean that you're a pushover, it's just that you're finding how to be more magnetic with your communication style. And I say that because the third house is how we communicate, and the full moon eclipse is at 5 degrees, which is a Leo degree. So it's like you're getting creative with your speech, you're getting creative with your communication style, and you are speaking in a way which is aligning you to your Leo energy, where maybe you are being more, or let's say having more dramatic flair when you need to capture someone's attention. But then with 5 degrees ruling over children, maybe you're able to speak in these soft, dulcet tones, which are calming and soothing to other people, but which really keep people zeroed in on you and engaged in what you have to say because of how you're saying it. And lastly, Leo, with this full moon eclipse occurring in your third house, this can see you successfully completing some kind of education course. So maybe this is an apprenticeship, getting some kind of qualification, certification, diploma, sitting a test, sitting an exam, and maybe getting a license. So for others of you, this can be reaching an important milestone when it comes to potentially some kind of creative project, writing project, documentary, writing piece, etc. So that's all I have for you, Leo, on the astrological front. I am going to pull a card, though, for your month of, my bad, for the word of the month. Okay, so Let's see, Leo, what you need to know. What's your word of the month? Abundant. Wow, how beautiful. I feel like there's some kind of abundance that's coming into your life, something that you've worked hard on, something that you have been putting all of this energy and attention and effort towards, and you're finally seeing these flowers bloom and blossom in your life. Or it's like this fruit that you've been waiting to ripen is finally ready for the picking. And for others of you, this can indicate an increase in salary, in income, or having access to funds or resources that you didn't think were going to be available to you at all, or that you didn't think would be available to you yet. And so, Leo, that's all I have for you for your March horoscope. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Next, I'm going to move on to Virgo, and then I'm going to take a little break. Okay, so this is for Virgo sun, moon, or risings. I myself am a Virgo moon, so I love to do the Virgo horoscopes. Now, Virgo, just like Gemini, you guys, well, we are going to be affected by the Mercury pre-shadow period, which is taking place from about the 18th of March. In saying that, Mercury is currently in Pisces. So if it already feels like Mercury retrograde, that's because Mercury doesn't like to be in Pisces. And that's a fact. It doesn't mean that people who have Mercury in Pisces have something wrong with them. No. These people can be very psychic, creative, intuitive, and have this understanding of how everything works. So it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with these individuals. But anyway, Virgo, let's get into the reading. Eclipse season is already here, which means you may be experiencing disturbed sleep, troubles getting to sleep, insomnia, trouble staying asleep, or just feeling quite tired. I myself have been experiencing this for weeks. And on a different note, though, this can indicate that it feels like time is speeding up, and all of these projects and responsibilities are kind of converging, and there's like this rapid scrambling energy. So there may be important deadlines that you guys are trying to reach before we get to the end of March. In any case, let's have a look at the new moon in Pisces. So Virgo, this is occurring on the 10th of March at 20 degrees in your seventh house, or in our seventh house. And the seventh house rules over relationships, marriage, partnerships of all kinds, as well as contracts, agreements, and let's say promises that we make to other people, or the obligations that we have towards other people. And also rules over the second born child. Okay, so that's for those of you who have 2 children or more. Now, in terms of new moons, they indicate a new chapter that is starting, a new seed that is being planted. And with this new moon, it does have the energy of sacrifice that is alongside it. And that is because Pisces energy is associated with letting go and sacrifice. Okay, so with the new moon occurring in the 7th house, this can indicate that your relationship is shifting from one state to the next. Now, for some of you, this can be going from something casual to something more serious, from something semi-serious to being exclusive, or maybe this is getting engaged, maybe this is getting married. For others of you, it can be the dissolving of your relationship, because this new moon is at 20 degrees, which is the Scorpio degree. So a letting go can be taking place. Now, it doesn't just have to be romantic. This can also pertain to business relationships and partnerships, friendships, as well as client relationships that you have, or even the services that you partake in or that you offer. All right. So with this new moon occurring in your 7th house, as I said, there can be a shift or a change in relationship status. And I do feel strongly that there's a sense of urgency that comes through with this new moon in Pisces, and that is because it's occurring at 20 degrees, which is the Scorpio degree. Scorpio energy is about transformation and things changing suddenly. And just to build on top of that, Mars at the time of the new moon is at 20 degrees Aquarius, squaring Uranus at 19 degrees Taurus. So Mars has this sense of urgency and this sense of change and impatience. And Uranus is the planet which rules over shocking change and, unexpected happenings. Now, that doesn't mean we should freak out, because first of all, we should never freak out in astrology readings. I'm not into fear mongering. I'm not into astrologers who try to rev people up and rile people up and get them scared. These are general readings, and astrologers can get things wrong, myself included. I digress. The new moon is occurring at 20 degrees and it's sextile Uranus at 19 degrees. So Uranus is supportive of this new chapter that is starting and of this new change that is coming through. But again, there is some kind of fast-paced rapidness that's coming through. So maybe it's like we quickly need to elevate our relationship status to the next level, or it just happens automatically. Maybe you've just met someone and sparks are flying and you're like, I just know you're my person, or I just know we're going to be together. And maybe you've only been dating for a few weeks and you're like, we're moving in together. Or you've only been together for a short amount of time and you're like, let's start a family, let's get married, let's elope. There's just like this skipping of regular steps that's taking place with this new moon. Now, romantic relationships aside, the same can be said for business partnerships. Maybe you barely know someone and you're like, let's collaborate together, let's start a business, let's start a podcast, let's host a retreat together. Even if you have known this person for ages, it could be like the two of you or one of you has this exciting new idea and it's like, we want to host a spiritual retreat, or we want to get this project off the ground. Let's not wait for next season. Let's do it now. Or let's just pool our resources together and get things done real quick. Now, for those of you who have children, there may be a sudden change that's taking place in their life where things are just happening quickly and it's like this new beginning, and maybe they're studying something new. They just decide to go on a trip or enroll in a course or get into a relationship, or they get pregnant or whatever it is. It just feels like things are happening super quick. On a different note, if you work in sales, or if you own your own business, or if you do the kind of work that involves one-to-one consultations or relationships, it could be that this new client comes on board or there's this new service that you're offering. But with this new moon in Pisces, just, no matter how it's playing out in your life, there is this element of sacrifice where it's like, I need to let go of something because the new moon's conjunct Neptune. I need to sacrifice something in order to welcome this new thing in. So maybe you're letting go of a certain service that you offer. Maybe you have to let go of a certain client relationship so that you can focus your attention onto another client or another business proposition or another business idea or venture, or even just focus on your marriage or your relationship. So on the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Pisces. So Mars will be coming in for backup to this new moon that is beginning. All right. And Mars will be here for 5.5 weeks. So from the 23rd of March, Mars is transiting the 7th house. Now, this can go a number of different ways, as can all astrological transits. You and your significant other may be working really hard on a project together. You're motivating each other. Maybe you're working out together. You're exercising together. Or you could be doing this with another person. It could be a friend, especially because Mars rules over your 3rd house, which is Scorpio. So you could be getting active together, going into business with another person, starting a new business venture or collaboration. For others of you, though, this can indicate disagreements with your significant other, disagreements with friends, disagreements with clients, just maybe not seeing things eye to eye. That's a different way that can play out. Another way is that if you're in a relationship, your significant other could be working themselves to the bone, working really hard. Maybe there's a lot of physical labor, manual labor, or maybe they're working out. There could be burned out. There could be burnout that takes place with Mars in Pisces, not having boundaries, not knowing one's limits and really pushing oneself too hard. On a different note, though, this can indicate that, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Yes, your partner could be really goal oriented around this time, really action oriented. And maybe this is like a turn on for you. And you're like, wow, look how driven they are. Look how much energy they have. They're like taking care of themselves, taking care of business, working on themselves, working on their body, being assertive. And, this could be really inspiring for you. Okay, so that's another way that this can play out. Mars through the seventh house can indicate you and another person taking on some challenge together, committing to one another. Look, it has to be said that Mars going through the seventh house can indicate some Virgos may be like, this relationship isn't for me. I need to walk away from this partnership. But that's for a select few of you. Given that this is backing up the new moon in the seventh house, I do think that this is taking a relationship from one state of being and transmuting it into the next. But in any case, it's a general reading, so it would be remiss of me not to throw that in there. Even if it's not walking away from a relationship, it could be that you are breaking a contract, and this could be early, right? This could be like prematurely exiting a contract, especially because Mars rules the third house, which is contracts, and it rules the eighth house, which is to, um, you know, it's like a recycling energy or transformation energy. So it could be like, you know, I don't want to be committed to this anymore. I need to walk away from this business plan, this business proposal. Um, or maybe you've just promised someone something and you're like, look, I know I'd agreed to this, but I can't do this anymore. Okay. So that's another way that that could play out. On the 20th of March, the sun is going to enter the sign of Aries. So, this is the start of the new astrological year. I'm always so excited for the new astrological year. Maybe that's because I'm an astrologer. Little fun fact, this is when I actually do my 12-month tarot spread for myself. So I go Aries season, Taurus season, Gemini season, bang, 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 all 12 seasons, and I write predictions for myself, which are very in depth and very intricate. So, if you're a fellow tarot reader, that may be something that you want to do, or maybe that's something you want to ask for in a tarot reading. On a different note, you may just want to look at your 12-month plan for the year ahead, aside from astrology, um, aside from tarot, and just be like, what do I want to achieve in Aries season, Taurus season, Gemini season, etc., etc., etc. As Virgos, I know you love this stuff. I love this stuff. Unless there's something in your chart which is like yuck to planning, this is the best time to plan, Virgo. I promise. If the start of the year isn't what you expected, it's not what you signed up for, you haven't actioned these goals and these dreams and these business ventures that you had planned to get through, Aries season is where it's at for all of this, okay? Something else to note with this new astrological year taking place is that Mercury, which is your ruling planet, or our ruling planet, will be conjunct Chiron in Aries. Not to mention the North Node will be in Aries. And of course, this is all in the eighth house, which means brand new beginnings, which take place at an accelerated pace, what's coming through for the next 12 months. And these are centered around mutual resources, deep healing, transformation, doing a deep dive into occult topics, esoteric topics, healing modalities, as well as intimacy, being vulnerable with other people. This can really kickstart your sex life as well, whether you're in a relationship or not. On a different note, this can indicate that you are overcoming fears, blockages, insecurities, as well as potentially addictions and vices. Okay, so I actually feel, and this wasn't in my notes, but as I'm looking at this, right, Virgos are going to become so much more psychic and just in alignment with what it is that they feel called to do with respect to life purpose. So don't be surprised if come the 20th of March, there's like big shifts that happen for you on an internal level when it comes to what you want to achieve, how vulnerable you're willing to become with another person or with other people. And you may just find that you are completely unafraid anymore of the unknown, or of really digging to the depths of what's going on for you at an emotional level. So, lastly, Virgo. On the 25th of March, there's going to be a full moon in Libra, and this is going to be at 5 degrees in your second house. So, I repeat, this is on the 25th of March. The second house rules over finances, resources, investments, your values, your diet, anything that you store, okay, anything that you keep in storehouses. It also rules over self love. That's right. Venus is associated with the second house. Venus rules your second house, which is Libra. So, this is how we nourish ourselves. What do we eat? This is how we love ourselves. This is what we allow ourselves to indulge in, what we allow ourselves to invest in and spend money on. The second house rules over the voice box, as well as the throat chakra. It also rules over the thyroid. The second house rules over gardening too. So this full moon eclipse in Libra can indicate that some of you Virgos, may be letting go of possessions and valuables that no longer serve you. These can be anything, okay? This can be like jewelry, clothing, random stuff from your childhood, books. So a lot of this stuff you may want to donate. Some of it you may just be like, this is like broken. Why am I even holding onto this thing that physically doesn't work? For others of you, you may want to gift this to another person, or you may feel like this just is tying you energetically to an old chapter that you don't want to be tied to anymore. For others of you, this can indicate looking at your diet and doing away with things that aren't serving you, whether this is sugar, whether this is gluten, this is maybe allergies for some of you, this is maybe caffeine for others of you. I myself have been trying to have decaf coffees instead of, regular coffees, which is not going super well for me, but I digress. For others of you, this is about activating your voice, your throat chakra, speaking your truth. If you have issues with your throat, now this can be to do with like getting throat infections, strep, sore throats, losing your voice often, maybe even issues with your thyroid. Now, I'm not saying that this is an alternative to medication or treatment that you may be on or looking at pursuing, but ultimately, if you have physical problems with your throat, with your thyroid, then spiritually, this is connected to your throat chakra and whether or not you are speaking your truth. Now, if it's not easy for you to just like walk up to a person who you want to say something to and just blurt it all out, maybe you start with saying affirmations to yourself. Maybe you start with singing, humming, just like becoming more used to getting that sound traveling through your voice, or what have you. So many of you will be releasing blockages surrounding money and resources, speaking truths that you've been holding in for weeks, months, if not years. For others of you, because the second house rules over the mouth, this also rules over things like smoking and biting your nails. So this can indicate that you are doing away with these habits. Now, on a different note, Libra rules over relationships of all kinds. So for many of you Virgos, you may be looking at what relationships in your life are detracting from your ability to manifest more income, more abundance, and generate more wealth in your life, because that is what the second house rules over. So you may need to make some shift in terms of the energy exchange. And if you're wondering what that means, that can literally be that you are not charging enough for the services that you offer because you are afraid that if you charge more, you won't get business. When in actuality, you charging what you're worth allows other people to physically see what you are denoting is your worth and go, oh, they think they're worth this. I'm going to pay that. Sometimes upping your prices can have this effect of signaling to other people that this is quality and this deserves to be invested in. So, on a different note, this can indicate that you are having epiphanies when it comes to self worth and what you value within yourself. So, this can indicate that some of you may be investing in something, whether this is like um, maybe a course with Libra, a tutor. Um, Maybe this is you purchasing something or procuring some kind of possession or resource or valuable. And you're like, maybe this is a sacred talisman for you or some kind of totem. And you're like, I deserve this because I've worked hard for this. Or maybe this can indicate that you're even just buying organic produce because you're like, I want to nourish myself um, with food that I know that I deserve, instead of looking at paying just a couple dollars less for something because you feel unworthy. And of course, some of you may be um, getting into gardening or getting into cooking and maybe incorporating um, traditional recipes from your family, from your lineage, or from your culture, which really connect you to those value systems. And so, Virgo, that's all I have for you astrologically, but hang around if you want to have your word of the month pulled. Okay, so let's have a look at Virgos. This is your word of the month. What do Virgos need to know? Release. There you go. Perfect for a full moon eclipse. So this is about releasing what no longer serves you, relationships, habits, thought patterns, releasing what you've been holding in here verbally, letting it go, speaking your truth. Okay. And if you have to let go of certain possessions or resources or valuables, just know that it's like clearing out your closet. You're physically making space for something new and better to come in. And so, Virgo, that's all I have for you for March 2024. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I am going to take a brief break of approximately 10 minutes, and I'm going to come back refreshed to do the next 6 signs. Thank you so much to everyone who's been helping me in the comment section with the timestamps. If you can carry that on and continue with that, I would be ever so grateful. Okay, I'll be back with Libra soon. Feel free to go and get yourself a tea or a coffee, and I'll catch you later. Hi everyone, thank you for your patience, and also a big thank you for the $5 donation from YO. Thank you for that. Okay, so I'm now going to be continuing on with the live stream. This is for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Risings. So this is huge for Libra because the full moon eclipse is happening in your sign. Okay, so before I get into that though, I will be talking about that at the end because that's happening at the end of the month. In any case, eclipse season is already with us now, so you may be feeling heightened emotions, emotional ups and downs, and also you may have disturbed or disrupted sleep at the minute, Libra. So you could be having difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, experiencing insomnia, or it could just be that your energy levels and your motivation levels are a little bit all over the place. And they could even be swinging from one extreme to the other. So some days you could feel really motivated to make changes and to tackle your tasks and duties for the day. And then other times you may just feel like you need extra sleep or extra downtime. Now, Libra, on the 10th of March, there will be a new moon in Pisces, and this will be occurring at 20 degrees in your sixth house. So, the sixth house rules over your work. Now, this represents your day job, but this rules over work of all kinds. So, like the day to day tasks, the nitty gritty, the mundane. It also rules over your employees, and it rules over things like health, diet, your exercise regime, as well as your daily habits and routines. The sixth house rules over pets, it rules over loans, mortgages, and honestly, anything that is out of balance. So, this new moon occurring in the sixth house indicates that there is a new chapter that's taking place with respect to one or more of those areas. So, for some of you Libras, you could be starting a new job. You could be staying in the same job, but starting new tasks or responsibilities. Maybe you're working in a new office or in a new capacity. Maybe you have to learn how to use a new program or just adhere to some kind of new structure within the workplace. And for others of you, you could really be getting into your health. So there may be a new health regime that you're taking up, or a new exercise regime, or a new diet that you're going on. And for others of you, you could really be focused on your daily habits and routines, whatever these may be. Whether you write in a gratitude diary or journal every day, or whether you meditate at 4 p.m. every afternoon. Like whatever your habits and routines are, these are represented by the sixth house, but that rules over all kinds of habits and routines. So, the sixth house can also represent our addictions or our vices. So, these are like habits that maybe you don't want to keep perpetuating or participating in, right? So, new moons indicate a new chapter that's taking place or a new beginning, a fresh new start. And this new moon is occurring at 20 degrees, which is the Scorpio degree. Scorpio energy is associated with sudden change, sudden transformation, healing, as well as fears of blockages coming up. Now, in saying that, this new moon is sextiling Uranus in Taurus at 19 degrees. So, Uranus is helping us make changes and make them quick. Mars is squaring Uranus at the same time with this new moon, which means that there is this sense of urgency or rapid change and transformation that's occurring around the 10th of March, plus or minus a week or two. So, in translating how that works with the new moon in your sixth house, this can indicate that things in the workplace are changing really quickly. So, maybe all of a sudden you have to use this new system, or one department's shutting down and you're moving offices, or you used to have this set of patients that you saw, and now that figure is changing, or the day-to-day systems and processes are changing somehow. If you work for yourself, the same can be said for these changes, but you're the one that's enacting them, and you're like, okay, I suddenly want to focus on this. I want to execute this project. I want to offer these services. And maybe there's a sacrifice that's taking place with Pisces energy. So it's like I have to let go of this in order to do that, if that makes sense. And again, with like health and diet and your exercise regime and these daily habits and routines, I just see that there's like this urgency where it's like, I need to cut this out of my life. Maybe it's like, I'm going to stop smoking, or, I'm going to start eating more healthily, or, I really need to exercise. I need to go for runs every day. And ultimately, this new moon sextiling Uranus is super supportive of that energy, right? Like you want to do this. These changes that come in, it's like, if you're the one who is driving it, then I see this as you wanting to do this. But if it's external influence, then I see you being able to adapt really quickly and having some kind of support. Now, for others of you, you may decide that you want to get a new pet, maybe adopt a pet, or maybe the conditions with your pets need to change. Okay, maybe they need to go on a sudden diet, or it's like, oh, we've discovered that the dog is allergic to this, so now we need to change the diet that they're on. Or maybe it's like, hey, we've just noticed that our dog, sorry, I keep using an example of a dog even though I have a cat. Maybe it's like, oh, the vets told us that our dog is overweight. Starting today, it's 2 walks a day, morning and night kind of thing. Now, for others of you, because this is a new moon that's taking place, there may be this intention to take out a loan, to apply for a mortgage. And ultimately, this new moon occurring in your 6th house can indicate that you are maybe wanting to just, let's say, change the balance of power in your relationships. So if you're feeling like you're giving more than you're taking, or that there's certain connections where they seem one-sided, or where someone is kind of leeching off of your resources, given that the new moon's at 20 degrees, and you may be putting things into place where it's like, from now on, there's boundaries and there's a system, and I'm going to be very mindful of how much energy and attention I give this relationship, or I allow this relationship to take up. So, on the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Pisces, and it will be here for the next 5.5 weeks. So the way that I would describe this is Mars is coming in as backup to support the new seeds that are being planted, or these new changes that are coming through with the new moon in Pisces in your 6th house. So in saying that, we need to consider what Mars rules over in your chart. So for you guys, it rules over your 7th house, which is Aries, and that represents partnerships and relationships. But it also rules over your 2nd house, which is Scorpio, which represents your finances and resources. So with Mars entering the 6th house, it could be that you are spending money on these aforementioned areas. Okay, so you could be spending money on food that is healthier, or that supports some kind of new diet that you're on. You could be spending money on a gym membership, or some kind of sporting class, or physical activity routine. You could be spending money on your pet or on your pets. Maybe you're adopting a pet, or fostering a pet. So you could be investing money, resources and time, if not money, or it could be all of the above. And in any case, some of you could actually be deciding that it's time to upscale when it comes to your business. So you may be deciding to get some new employees on board, or maybe this is a first time thing for you where you've never had employees before, but you're deciding that now is the time and it's needed or warranted in some way. In any case, Mars going through the 6th house is actually really helpful, because the 6th house represents like unsavory tasks. It represents the day-to-day nitty-gritty boring stuff, physical labor, or just like things that take a lot of our time and effort. And Mars going through the 6th house indicates like a resurgence of drive and motivation and willpower that's just being channeled into this. So you can be really gung-ho about this new diet, this new health regime, this new exercise regime. Mars going through the 6th house, amazing for cutting out bad habits. Okay, so if you're biting your nails, if you're smoking, if you feel like you're eating too much sugar or whatever, not trying to, rain on anyone's parade, like do what you want, right? But if these are things that you've identified that you don't want to do anymore, then Mars going through the 6th house is allowing you to cut out these habits and routines that are no longer serving you. And conversely, Mars here is helping you to implement new routines and stick to them, because Mars has this like warrior spirit, and it likes challenges and being challenged. And so anything new that you want to start within these domains, you can do, and you can be very successful at. Now, on the 20th of March, the sun is going to enter the sign of Aries, which means that the new astrological year is beginning. So this happens every year when the sun enters Aries. But what's different about this new astrological year that's beginning is that we have Mercury conjunct Chiron in Aries at the time, and we also have the North Node in Aries. So the focus here is the North Node, okay? Because last year and, the last 18 or so years before, the North Node has not been in Aries at the time of at the time of Aries season beginning. So this indicates, with it occurring in your 7th house, that this is a brand new energy for you Librans when it comes to your relationships of all kinds. So romantic, marriage, business partnerships, client relationships, and so on and so forth. So the North Node being here represents these accelerated new beginnings. So I have no doubt that there'll be lots of Libras who have massive changes take place within their relationships. And these can be super quick, where it's like you meet someone, sparks a flying, boom, you're in a relationship. Or you meet someone who has like similar interests to you, and maybe you become friends really quickly, or maybe you go into business with another person and you have this new business partner, and it sort of like takes off super, super quick. For others of you, you could have not been with your partner for very long, and you're like, hey, let's get married, and boom, you've done this within 12 years. On a different note, the North Node being here in your 7th house, and with Mercury and Chiron being conjunct, really deep healing is going to take place in your relationships. And if you have anything that you haven't tackled in your relationships, if you have things that have been left unsaid or left unchecked, Mercury conjunct Chiron here and the North Node indicate that you are going to get onto it. You're going to talk about these things. You're going to iron them out, and you're either going to go your separate ways. You're going to work on these problems and get to the bottom of it so that your relationship can ascend to the next level. Now, on the 25th of March, there's going to be a full moon eclipse in Libra, and this will be taking place at 5 degrees in your 1st house. So no other sign will be as impacted by the full moon eclipse as you guys, because it's occurring in your sign. Now, will all Librans be affected? Yes. Will they all be affected equally? No. And so basically you want to look at how close 5 degrees is to your sun, moon, or rising. So the people who will be impacted the most will be Librans at 5 degrees, especially also 5 degrees especially, but plus or minus 5. So 0 to 10 degrees Libra, sun, moon, or risings, you're going to feel this the most. The rest of you will feel it, but maybe on a more muted level, or maybe the changes won't be as impactful. In any case, it's all about you. The 1st house represents your physical appearance, your aura, your demeanor, how you carry yourself. And basically, the full moon eclipse is with the South Node, which has this energy of spiritualization and spiritual downloads and information coming through. So this can indicate that your aura is shifting and that you are purging your yourself of toxic energy, toxic experiences. You may feel like your aura is more purified and cleaner. How you carry yourself may be different. You may be doing away with, let's say, beauty enhancements to let's say, embrace a more natural look. And I say that because Libra is ruled by Venus, as are you guys, of course. And Libra is associated with beauty, but it's like more refined. And so Libra can sometimes be like, as an energy, right? Like, don't take this as a comment on you, but Libra energy can sort of be more centered around um, enhancing of beauty via, let's say, makeup or hair, but it's like it can be super curated or stylized, or maybe this is even to do with like injectors or plastic surgery or whatever. So the full moon eclipse in Libra can indicate that some of you may be like, I want to wear my hair natural. I don't want to dye my hair. I don't want to use fake tan. I don't want to, have like bold lip colors or get filler in my lip or whatever it is anymore. So you can sort of be coming back to um, feeling more comfortable in your own skin without adding things that are designed to enhance or alter or change your appearance. But if you're into all that, that's fine. There's no commentary, no negative commentary or criticism from me on this. This is just an astrology reading. Now, on a different note, this can indicate that you may be some kind of vessel for channeling at this time. So you may be delivering spiritual facts and truths and feeling like you're super connected to source, and that everything that you're journaling about or thinking or feeling, or the images that you're seeing or the meditations that you're doing, these can just be super, super healing and super potent, even if you're delivering messages to other people. On a different note, this can indicate that there are shifts happening with respect to your relationships, because Libra rules over relationships and partnerships, but it's at 5 degrees, which is the Leo degree, and this rules over romantic relationships and relationships with children. So these may be of particular focus for you at this time. So there may be shifts that are happening in your romantic relationship, okay? For some of you, you can be, let's say, reconnecting with romantic partners from the past. This can be like physically, you're seeing them in the flesh, or you can feel like their energy is really around you at this time, and that can come through as like you dreaming about them a lot or thinking about them a lot. On a different note, some of you may decide that you want to walk away from a certain romantic relationship that you're currently in, and for others of you, this can be the transmutation of one state of being within your romantic relationship to the next, where you're just actually taking it to a higher level or another octave, and maybe you experience more joy and intimacy and love within this relationship. Now, because it's at 5, the full moon eclipse is at 5 degrees, which is a Leo degree, which rules over children, your attitude to becoming a parent could be shifting, or your attitude towards expanding your family could be changing. Maybe you had said, we've got enough children, let's not go any further, and you're like, no, I want another one. Or the reverse of that could be true. Maybe you decide that you have enough children as it is, or your attitude could be changing and shifting when it comes to the concept of being a step parent, adoptive, or foster parent. For those of you who are currently not in contact with one of your children, maybe you're not on speaking terms, this can actually indicate that you are reconnecting with them, and maybe letting bygones be bygones and going through like a healing phase with you and your child. On a different note, though, some of you may be reconnecting to your creativity, to passions and hobbies, and you may basically just be lightening the load and letting go of emotional, let's say, dead wood that you've just been carrying along with you. And you're just like, I don't need to be focused on this anymore. I'm ready to purge. I'm ready to let go of this. And I'm ready to shift to the next chapter. So Libra, now I'm going to pull a word of the month for you. So this is your word for March. What do Libras need to know? What's the word? Oh, you're the first sign to get 2 cards this month. We've got patience and grateful. Okay, so as far as grateful is coming through, I actually feel like this card is not about you guys being told, oh, you need to be more grateful and blah, blah, blah. I feel like something really amazing is going to be coming into your life in March, or something amazing is going to happen that you're really grateful for. And if that's the case, Libra, please drop me a comment and let me know what that is as it unfolds. We've also got patience. So I feel like there will be situations which ask for your patience, and you may need to really tap into that part of you that understands divine timing. So if things aren't happening exactly when you wanted them to, or if things seem delayed, or if something's happened earlier than you thought, you will be able to tap into the energy of patience. So Libra, that's all I have for you for March. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And in a moment, I'm going to move on to Scorpio. Okay, so Scorpio, sun, moon, and risings. For the whole of March, we're going to be in eclipse season energy. So your motivation levels may be lower. You may feel tired more easily. Your sleep may be disturbed. Your dreams may be kind of crazy and vivid. But that's all part and parcel when it comes to eclipse season. On the 10th of March, there will be a new moon in Pisces, and this is going to be taking place in your 5th house at 20 degrees. Now, 20 degrees is actually the Scorpio degree as it is. So ultimately, there is some sort of sense of urgency that's coming through with this new moon because of the Scorpio degree. Plus, Mars will be squaring Uranus at the time of the new moon. And both planets are associated with fast-paced action and change. And Uranus is sextiling the new moon, which means it's like supportive of this energy. So ultimately, I see whatever new chapter that is starting, whatever new seeds you're planting, there's a sense of urgency, whether you're just like in a hurry to do it, or there may be some kind of time critical element to it, or maybe this new chapter is hinging on another person, and so you're just having to like get your act together real quick. Like I said, it's in your 5th house. Now, the 5th house is associated with your love life, your dating life, romance, sex life. The 5th house also rules over owning your own business, creativity, creative projects. It rules over children, and it rules over your hobbies and passions, as well as some other things. Nevertheless, basically, with this new moon occurring at 20 degrees, which is the Scorpio degree, there is some kind of shift that's happening. And I feel like the energy of this new moon is realizing that the direction that we've been going in, which we thought was downstream, is actually upstream. And so there's like this, we realize that there's a whole lot of resistance that we're being met with, and that resistance is us going against our flow. So, in terms of how this pertains to the new moon in your 5th house, there may be some rapid changes that come through in your romantic life, in your approach to dating, even if you're not with someone, in your sex life. And this could be centered around the kind of person that you want to attract, what you've been looking for, how your relationship is currently operating. And that is to say, how you are operating within this relationship. And so maybe you've been trying to slow something down that naturally wants to speed up. And this could be because of fears or blockages. On a different note, some of you may basically change your mind or your approach to your existing status, relationship status, and how you feel about that in terms of whether you're okay with that. So, for example, you may have told yourself, no, I'm okay being single. I'm not looking for anyone. I don't need to be with anyone. I'm perfect on my own. And by the way, that's fine, right? If that is truly the case. But for others of you, you may, with this new moon in Pisces, be like, no, I want someone. No, I do want to be in a relationship. I don't want to be by myself. And the reverse of this could be true. Some of you could have been looking for a relationship for however long, short time, long time. And this new moon in your fifth house can see you being like, no, I just need to be me. I need to be by myself. I can't be in anything right now. Maybe you're going celibate. Maybe you're, you know, basically just deciding that you want to be in your own energy. On a different note, this can indicate that some of you are wanting to start your own business or explore some kind of new creative project or a hobby or a passion of yours. And with this new moon having the energy of urgency and sudden change, it could be that there's an opportunity that comes through, which is time critical, where it's like, you know, maybe someone wants your involvement on something creatively, and it's like, but there's a deadline. Or maybe you're wanting to get ahead of the curve in some respect and launch a project or a creative um, or business venture or what have you before a certain time period. In any case, your thoughts and feelings and emotions, more importantly, surrounding love, children, creativity, hobbies, your passions, your natural talents, could be shifting and changing direction abruptly. And this can indicate that you know what you need to do and what you need to let go of. You understand what's been holding you back and perhaps the ways in which you have been self-sabotaging. So in saying that, you may feel this resistance when it comes to moving into this new uncharted territory. Now, on the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Pisces. So it will be transiting your fifth house for the next 5.5 weeks. And this is your ruling planet, Scorpio. So your ruling planet being in the fifth house indicates that you're focused on these fifth house matters. You're focused on your dating life, or you're focused on your relationship with your children, or starting a family, or you're focused on starting your own business, or you're just focused on you and your joy and what brings you happiness, and you exploring your creative hobbies and passions and talents. Now, this can indicate that you may develop feelings for someone out of the blue, and maybe these are deep and passionate feelings. Worst case scenario is fighting with your significant other or fighting with your children. But best case scenario is really putting the time and energy and effort into doing things that's going to make you happy. Now, on the 20th of March, I know I'm jumping around a little bit in the timeline, the sun is going to enter the sign of Aries. So this marks the beginning of the new astrological year. With this coinciding with the North Node being in Aries, or let's just say the North Node will be in Aries and Mercury will be conjunct Chiron in Aries at the time of the new astrological year. This is kind of like the solar return energy of the new astrological year, which means that the sixth house will be a huge area of focus for you. And this will be centered around getting fit, getting healthy, healing something, whether this is emotional, whether this is physical. This can indicate that you are exploring new industries when it comes to work. Maybe this is you starting your own business. Maybe this is you forming new habits and daily routines. Maybe this is you getting more in balance in areas of your life that just feel out of control. In any case, I do really think that a lot of you Scorpios will start new jobs during this period of time, or that you will discover new healing modalities, or that there will be important shifts and changes that are taking place when it comes to you taking better care of yourself and better care of your health. Lastly, for the month, on the 25th of March, there will be a full moon eclipse. There will be a full moon eclipse in Libra at 5 degrees, and this is occurring in your 12th house. So the 12th house is the unseen realm. It is the hidden realm. When we have transits to this house, or when we have full moons or new moons or eclipses in this house, we don't always see a physical manifestation of that. So For you guys, there may not be any outward changes that take place with this full moon eclipse. So people may be none the wiser to whatever is going on for you around the 25th of March, plus or minus, 3 to 4 weeks. But for you, on a deep and internal level, this can indicate that you are connecting more to your spiritual side, that you are delving deep into spiritual topics, occult topics, anything esoteric. You may have a very profound reading at this time, whether that's tarot, astrology, mediumship, hypnosis, or a past life regression. On a different note, this can indicate that you are perhaps discovering your own intuitive and psychic abilities around this time. You may have some kind of important premonition or dream, which is really profound. You may be, let's say, overcoming certain insecurities, fears, blockages, understanding self-sabotaging behavior that you may have been exhibiting. With this full moon eclipse occurring at 5 degrees, which is a Leo degree, which rules over, your love life, romance, creativity, as well as children, you could understand or have epiphanies surrounding self-sabotage in this department. So maybe you are self-sabotaging when it comes to relationships. Maybe you are understanding your part to play in an argument or in a disagreement, which is which involves your child or which involves your children. In any case, a way that this can play out on a tangible level is that you may be completing some kind of creative project or some kind of, let's say, project that involves charity or volunteer work. Basically, this is a very spiritual eclipse for you guys. So you may just be getting more in touch with your emotions. You may be feeling extremely emotional around this time, and you may be requiring more sleep around the 25th of March, especially, or plus or minus a few days. So there may actually be cause for you to spend some time by yourself, spend some time in isolation, and just basically decompressing and detaching from the world. I would say that the best way for you to navigate this energy would actually be to meditate, to practice yoga, to spend time by large bodies of water or in them. So this can be, going for walks by the sea or the lake or going swimming. And yes, I certainly would be cleansing yourself if you can, whether that's with sound, incense, smudging, just whatever you feel called to do. You can even just do a meditation cleanse. So, Scorpio, I'm now going to pull a card for your word for the month, and then I'm going to move on to Sagittarius. So let's have a look at Scorpios and what they need to know. The month, what's their word for the month? We've got lessons. Okay, so I feel like this isn't saying, oh, there are important lessons you need to learn. I feel like this is you understanding the lessons that you've experienced in your life and making sense of these and ascending to the next level where it's like, I've experienced this. I know what this is about now. I don't need to repeat this lesson. I'm ready for the next thing. I also feel like this card represents this deep hunger and thirst for new knowledge. So I feel like a lot of you Scorpios will be feeling called to maybe enroll in some kind of new education program or perhaps become a teacher yourself. So Scorpio, that's all I have for you for March 2024. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Now I'm going to move on to Sagittarius, but first let me have a little tea break. Okay. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Risings. We are well and truly in eclipse season, which means that you may be feeling strong emotions at this time. You may feel like time is speeding up or like you're running out of time in some way, shape, or form. Also, you may have disturbed sleep patterns or strange sleep cycles and possibly unusually vivid dreams. And these could even be sort of like a premonition. Anyway, On the 10th of March, there will be a new moon in Pisces at 20 degrees, and this will be occurring in your fourth house. Now, the fourth house rules over your home life, it rules over your residence, so property and living circumstances, anything to do with real estate, rules over family, parents, immediate family, your children, anyone who is a dependent of yours. So anyone that you care for, it rules over people that you live with, so housemates and flatmates. And also it rules over our ancestry, our lineage, our sense of security, as well as our deep-seated emotions or our deep emotional self. Okay, so with this new moon taking place here in the fourth house, a new chapter is starting here, new seeds being sown. So for many of you Sagittarians, there will be movement and changes happening on the property and living circumstances front. Maybe buying a property, selling. You could be having your tenants move out. You could be relocating. You could be moving in with someone. Someone could be moving in with you. And ultimately, what is notable about this new moon in Pisces is that it's at 20 degrees, which is the Scorpio degree. So this represents things happening really quickly, really suddenly, really unexpectedly too. Also, this new moon will be sextiling Uranus. So the sextile represents an opportunity here. It's a very helpful energy. It's what we like to see. So this indicates that we can integrate this change really well. There is support in integrating these changes. In saying that, Mars is square Uranus at the time of the new moon. It's off by 1 degree, so it's a 1 degree orb. So there's a sense of urgency. There's a sense of fast-paced, rapid change. There's also a sense of the unexpected. There's a sense of things coming up out of the blue, out of left field, and it's like, whoa, didn't think I had to deal with that, but now I'm going to have to deal with this and pivot and make changes. And again, this can affect you on the home front, the family front, and anything to do with your property and living circumstances. So you may need to move out of your home quickly. Someone may be moving in sooner than you thought. You may decide that you want to start having a family, planning to start a family or extend your family, expand it further somehow. And there could be a sense of urgency here or some fast-paced changes that are coming in as a result of this. On a different note, you may need to be there for a family member. Okay, so you could be offering them additional support, additional care. Maybe they just need a shoulder to cry on, given that it is a new moon in Pisces, or you could be making some kind towards, let's say, improving your living conditions. And some of you maybe didn't even want to relocate. Maybe you weren't looking to relocate. Maybe you weren't looking to make certain changes to your property and living circumstances. But it's like, hey, we want to renovate. We want to extend. I want to redo the bathroom. I want to, have add this new addition into the home space. And so now I'm needing to make these adjustments. And it's like, well, all of this is happening really, really quickly. On a different note, this can indicate that there are sudden mysterious secrets or truths that are being revealed about your family, about your ancestry, about your lineage, and you're learning new things. And maybe what you learn is causing you to make unexpected changes to your day-to-day life or to your property and living circumstances, or maybe this is somehow going to affect or influence how you engage with your family, how you parent, or how you want to raise your family, if I haven't said that already. So for some of you, you could just be getting into gardening because the fourth house is associated with gardening and with one's property and land. So there may be developments that are coming through. 20 degrees is a Scorpio degree, which is associated with fertility. So maybe there's something here about the season or the time period that you're in or the place that you live where it's like, hey, if we want to have this garden or have these flowers or fruit trees or whatever, then we're going to need to act soon and plant these now. Or maybe there's changes to like greenhouses or whatever. My grandparents were really right into that, so it's just coming to mind now. On the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Pisces, and it will be there for the next 5.5 weeks. So Mars is going through your 4th house, and this is back up for the new moon. So these new intentions, these new seeds that you've planted, maybe there was a bit of a gap between the idea and the execution, or maybe you just need to marshal more effort and energy and attention to these or towards these matters. So Mars going through the 4th house can result in renovations around the home, working towards relocating, working towards making changes to your property and living circumstances. Worst case scenario, fighting with family, fighting with your significant other, fighting with flatmates or living mates. Best case scenario, or I should say the best way to mitigate that energy is work out with them. Maybe work out at home, maybe take on a DIY project or challenge together with your family, your significant other, or the person or the people that you live with, and make it like a team project. And that will diffuse any that will help to diffuse tensions that may rise with Mars going through the 4th house. On a different note, you may be protecting people who depend on you. I'm not saying, there's like some kind of issue where you're like physically, getting into a punch on or anything like that. It's just like you could be putting things in place towards protecting the people that you care about or your family. Or maybe you're putting effort in on their behalf. You could be sacrificing your spare time or your leisure time with Mars ruling over your 12th house. And this could be for your children, with Mars ruling the 5th house, or for your significant other, or for your family in some way. On the 20th of March, the Sun is going to enter the sign of Aries. And this indicates that a new astrological year is beginning. And of course, this happens every start of every Aries season of every year. But what's different about this one is that the North Node is also in Aries at the time of the of Aries season starting, and we haven't experienced this for like the last 18 or 19 years. So it is significant. Basically, this is like the solar return chart for the new astrological year. So the North Node being in Aries and the Sun being in Aries together, and this happening in your 5th house, indicates that there's accelerated new beginnings that that are associated with the 5th house. So this could be this is a high level indicator that some of you Sagittarians will be entering new relationships, becoming parents, or having more children. To be fair, it could maybe even be becoming a grandparent, because the 5th house rules over children of all kinds. But on a different note, this can indicate the discovery of new hobbies, passions, talents, or cultivating and honing these further, maybe starting your own business or starting some kind of side hustle. Now, lastly, Sagittarius, on the 25th of March, there will be a full moon eclipse in Libra, and this is going to be occurring at 5 degrees in your 11th house. The 11th house rules over community, friendship, passive and residual forms of income, our long-term goals and dreams, as well as older siblings. It rules over awards, accolades, receiving praise and acknowledgement for the work that we've done. It rules, did I say humanitarian causes? If not, saying that now. It also rules over things like the pension, scholarships, and government support, and our social media presence, being of a chapter which pertains to one or more of those areas. And so for some of you guys, this is like saying goodbye to a community that you've been part of, the ending of a chapter or a stage of a friendship. And I just want to say, though, that this full moon eclipse actually has surprisingly supportive energy alongside it. And the most notable of which is that the full moon eclipse is making a trine to Pluto at 1 degrees Aquarius. And Pluto has this regenerative, restorative energy, and it's associated with death and rebirth, but it's also extremely fertile. So at 1 degrees, which is the Aries degree, it's like a new uncharted territory that we haven't experienced before. So I really feel deeply that this full moon eclipse is not about saying goodbye forever. It's not about something or someone leaving our lives forever. It's about that connection, or that, let's say, experience changing from one level to the next. Or it's like it's taking on a new form. Okay, so if you are leaving a community behind, maybe it's temporary, or maybe you're finding one that's very similar to it, that this meets different needs of yours. On a different note, it could just be a pause. With friendships, you could be redefining an existing friendship, and it's going from one level to another level. Interestingly, with this full moon eclipse occurring at 5 degrees, which is the Leo degree, which is associated with romance and children, some of you may be finding love with a friend. Okay, so this could be someone that you've been friends with for a long time or for a short time. It doesn't matter. It could even be like an acquaintance, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, let's take this friendship to the next level. I'm ready. Okay, so again, there could be that transmutation or that transference of things being in one state and taking on a new form and a different state. For others of you, this can indicate that your relationship with your older sibling is shifting. And I do see this as shifting for the positive, or shifting for the better. Yes, some of you may be losing touch with an older sibling. I do think that this is temporary, if that's the case. And I see this as being an opportunity for spiritual development for the both of you that occurs independently, so that the two of you can come back around to each other when you're ready and when you're in different places, being better versions of yourself that would not have otherwise have occurred if you were acting as an emotional crutch for one another. Now, on a different note, I see some of you guys will be letting go of certain social media profiles and accounts, just closing these down. Again, it could be temporary. And for others of you, this could be you relinquishing some kind of passive form of income or residual form of income. And that could be in order for you to prioritize other things that are more important. In terms of what they may be, well, the full moon eclipse is ruled by Venus. Venus rules over Libra. Venus will be exalted in Pisces at 16 degrees. Not to mention the nodes will also be at 16 degrees. So whatever is taking place for you, oh, I'm so sorry. That was my rose quartz crystal. Whatever is taking place for you around the 25th of March, plus or minus 3 or 4 weeks, I see this as being something which is motivated by, associated to, or related to your family because of the Cancer degree. So family life, home life, or your property and living circumstances, or maybe just deep emotional needs that haven't been met. And so you're having to shift things in order for these to be met. Lastly, Sagittarius, I see with this full moon eclipse that some of you will be receiving the praise, the rewards, the acknowledgement, the accolades, the awards that you deserve for all of this effort that you've put in, all of this hard work that you've put in. I see some of you completing long-term goals and dreams, or just finally having these actualized. And it's like, I've been gunning for this, I've been wanting this, I've been, praying for this or trying to manifest this and bring it into my life. And now it's finally here. So, Sagittarius, now I'm going to pull a word of the month for you. Okay. What do Sagittarians need to know? What's the word of the month? Oh, beautiful. Oh my God, I got dream. What did I just say? Something you've been dreaming of, something you've been working towards. I feel like a dream, a dear dream of yours is really going to be brought into the 3D. It's going to be manifested. It's going to come to life. This dream of yours is going to be brought out of the dream realm and into your physical reality. And so, Sagittarius, that's all I have for you for March 2024. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'm going to move on to Capricorn in just a moment. This is my my Harry Potter Marauders map mug. I solemnly swear that I am up to no good. Let me know if you're a fellow Harry Potter fanatical fan like I am. Okay, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Risings. This is your March horoscope. And ultimately, from the beginning of the month, we're in eclipse season energy, which means that sleep may be disturbed or disrupted, emotions can be running high. We can feel like time is speeding up and that we don't have enough time to complete our tasks and our duties. And certainly, it can feel like a little bit of, well, a lot of an emotional roller coaster. Nevertheless, let us move on. On the 10th of March, there will be a new moon at 20 degrees in the sign of Scorpio. I beg your pardon. A new moon in Pisces at 20 degrees, which is the Scorpio degree. And this is occurring in your third house. So new moons are all about a new chapter taking place or a new beginning. And the third house rules over things like writing projects, documentaries. It is one of the houses that's, associated with social media, meetings, colleagues, friends, siblings, relatives, and if I didn't say it already, short-term education projects. So there may be new chapters that are starting in one or more of these domains or in one or more of these areas. And with this new moon at 20 degrees, which is the Scorpio degree, this indicates that there's a sudden change or shift or transformation that's taking place. And the new moon is sextiling Uranus, which again has this impatient sort of energy, which is also supporting the new moon, by the way. So there will be a square from Mars to Uranus. So Mars at 20 degrees Aquarius, Uranus at 19 degrees Taurus. But like I said, Uranus is sextiling the new moon. In any case, this new moon will be characterized by sudden and swift and probably unexpected change, a sense of urgency. And in any case, though, with it happening in your third house, some of you Capricorns may feel called to upskill, learn something new, learn a new trade, enroll in a new program, maybe create your own course content and become a teacher or a mentor yourself in some respect. You may start a new project. It could be connected to writing, reporting. Maybe you're starting a YouTube channel. Maybe you are starting to put together a documentary or doing some hardcore research. Some of you may be forming a new friendship, and this could just come like out of the blue. It could even be a small group of friends that you're bringing together somehow. And for others of you, you could be working in a small group or team on some kind of group project. Now, on the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Pisces. So Mars will be transiting your third house for the next 5.5 weeks. Now, I'm calling this back up for the new moon. So Mars is supporting this new change or this new chapter or this new project or business venture that's coming through. Mars is actually really handy in the third house in that we can just power through getting back to people via texts, email. If you want to develop a new website or make changes to your existing website, you can do that. If you have lots of reports to get through, you can smash these out and get through them real quick. And this can see you starting and finishing communications projects in a lot quicker time period than one would ordinarily think. The downside of Mars in the third house has to be said: fighting with siblings, relatives, friends, colleagues, and maybe even some grumpy, cantankerous clients. So that is something to watch out for. But ultimately, I do see this as a time where you can basically produce a lot of content and a lot of work in a short period. And also, if you need to sit certain tests or exams, or apply for a higher level of qualification or certification or some kind of diploma, Mars here can help you cram, help you remember, help you ace these tests, help you get through coursework really, really quickly as well. On the 20th of March, the sun is going to enter the sign of Aries, which represents that the new astrological year is beginning. Now, the other aspects and transits that are occurring at the time of the new astrological year, not the new moon, indicate sort of like the solar return energy that is going to be at play here. Okay, so basically, at the time that the sun enters Aries in your fourth house, Mercury will be conjunct Chiron here in the fourth house too, but the North Node, more importantly, will be in Aries in the fourth house. So the North Node being in the same sign as Aries at the time of the new astrological year is really exciting because it represents these accelerated new beginnings that are taking place. So the fourth house is home life, property, and real estate, as well as family. So this indicates that many, many Capricorns will relocate, buy new property, move, renovate their house, extend it somehow, or perhaps become parents, become grandparents. So your ancestry or lineage could be continued in that way. And the North Node being in the fourth house here indicates to me that this is something that you haven't experienced before. So maybe you're living somewhere you haven't lived before. Maybe you're becoming a parent for the first time, or a step parent, adoptive, foster. Maybe you're becoming a grandparent for the first time. Or you're just making changes to your property and living circumstances, which are really, really new. And maybe it's just that you've never lived by the beach, you've never lived by the mountains, and where you're relocating is important. There's like an important defining factor of like newness here. On a different level, maybe you've always rented and you've never owned your own property. Maybe you've never owned an investment property. So there's like some kind of first that's taking place when it comes to your property and living circumstances, as well as your family dynamic. And hey, for some of you, it could just be that you've never lived with a romantic partner before, and that's happening sometime in this 12-month period. Lastly, for you Capricorns, on the 25th of March, there will be a full moon eclipse that is taking place at 5 degrees in your 10th house. What an exciting eclipse for you guys. The 10th house is all about your public image, your professional status, your leadership responsibilities. And guess what? This full moon eclipse has really supportive aspects and energy with it, right? So the full moon eclipse is at 5 degrees Libra, but it's trining Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degrees, which indicates that these shifts can be integrated really well in a way that's emotionally supportive, or where you feel emotionally stable. I actually think that what's kind of uncharacteristic about this full moon eclipse in Libra is just how well of an adjustment there's going to be. Like a lot of the time with eclipses, it's like, oh my God, crash bang, like my whole life, excuse me, is turning upside down, and how do I deal with this? But the trine to Pluto at 1 degrees is like, no, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. Maybe there are unexpected changes and bumps along the way, but ultimately I can feel that this change and this shift is happening for my best and highest good. Now, the 10th house, as I said, rules over your public image and your professional status. So the 10th house is associated with things like our work profile, our job title, our employment status, whether that's gainfully employed, casual worker, full-time, part-time, retired, self-employed. It also rules over statuses of all kinds: relationship, marital, citizenship, permanent residency, disability. Okay, so if there are status changes that you are seeking, or you have been seeking, and that you're waiting on, these can come through. So this can indicate a change of employment status. Maybe you're launching your own business. Maybe you are retiring. Maybe you're going on maternity leave or paternity leave. Maybe you have applied for some kind of disability status, which will affect your pension or some kind of concession or service. On a different note, maybe some of you have been waiting on um, having your permanent residency come through, or like a dual passport or something like this. And I say that because um, Libra is actually one of the signs that is associated with international politics. So we're not just looking at Sagittarius and ninth house energy. Libra is also associated with foreign affairs. Now, on a different note, some of you can be making announcements about these changes to your life in a public setting or with respect to your public image and making things known. So you could be putting it out there. Hey, I'm retired. Hey, I've launched my own business. This is my job title now. This is my promotion status now. Maybe your marital status is changing and you're putting that out there. Maybe you are coming out in terms of gender identity or sexual preferences, or announcing that you're going to be a parent soon or a parent again. Same can apply to grandparents. And ultimately, your leadership responsibilities can be shifting and can be changing. Because this full moon eclipse is occurring at 5 degrees, which is the Leo degree, which is associated with love, romance, children, as well as owning our own business, but also like our natural gifts and talents. I feel like whatever's coming through with this full moon eclipse in Libra in your 10th house, you're proud of it, or it's something that's very close to your heart. Even if you're not proud of it, quote unquote, it's like, this is who I am, this is authentically me. This needs to be said. This involves my love life or my children or, my business or what have you. So it's really a case of you identifying and just acknowledging within yourself, who do you want to be? How do you want to be seen? What legacy do you want to create? What legacy do you want to leave behind? How do you want others to view you? What's the best way that you can be of service in this lifetime and in this incarnation? In any case, Capricorn, I'm now going to pull a card for your word of the month, and then I'm going to move on to Aquarius. Okay, so Capricorn, word of the month, becoming. How beautiful. Another one just flipped out, which is balance. Libra word there. Okay, so this indicates you balancing out where you were before and where you're going, your past and your future, who you used to be or who you used to identify as, and who you are now. And it's like you embracing who you are becoming, what path you are on, what trajectory you are on. And so, this is perfect for full moon eclipse in Libra energy, because it's all about letting go of what needs to be let go of in order to achieve balance. And in doing so, that's making space for you to become this next higher version or iteration of yourself. So Capricorn, that's all I have for you for March 2024. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'm going to move on to Aquarius in just a moment. Hopefully this tea will last me until the end. Okay, so Aquarius, sun, moon, and risings. First and foremost, we are well and truly in eclipse season energy, which indicates that you may be experiencing strong emotions, disturbed sleep patterns and cycles, weird dreams, vivid dreams, and it can also be sudden downloads of information that are coming through around this time, sudden epiphanies, especially ones that maybe catch you off guard or that are quite unexpected. Now, on the 10th of March, there will be a new moon in Pisces at 20 degrees in your second house. So new moons are all about a new chapter taking place, a new beginning, a new and fresh start. The second house rules over finances and resources, anything we invest in. It rules over our values, our diet. It also rules over anything that's in storage, anything that we store, as well as things like collections. So, if you've got like a stamp collection or whatever. It rules over self love, it rules over gardening, cooking, as well as your voice and your throat chakra. So, with this new moon occurring at 20 degrees, which is the Scorpio degree, to me, this indicates that there are um, things that are coming up out of the blue around this new moon. And there's a sense of urgency because the new moon is sextiling Uranus. So it's like shocking events, sudden happenings, but the sextile is like supportive energy, right? In saying that, Mars is squaring Uranus at the time of the new moon. So there's a sense of urgency. There's change which comes through rapidly and unexpectedly, especially because the eclipses represent changes coming through as it is. So we've got that eclipse on the 25th of March and another one on the 8th of April. So ultimately, you may decide that you want to do away with certain resources and possessions and things that you're storing. This even could be to do with your wardrobe. And I say that because even though new moons are about new beginnings and new chapters, this new moon is in Pisces and it's conjunct Neptune, which represents to let go, generosity, donation, and so on and so forth. So you may be like, why do I hold on to these like outfits, this clothing, these possessions, this, jewelry or whatever, gifts someone has given you before? So it can be time for you to do a huge clear out. On a different level, you may find yourself being inclined to make an investment, spend a lot of your money at once, especially because, Venus and Mars in Aquarius are squaring Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus in the sign of money. So it's like spend big and spend quick, right? So this can see you having a sudden sense of urgency too, where it's like, I need to move quickly. I need to, um, make these changes happen. And maybe there's like this scrambling energy. To be fair, you've got Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus in your fourth house. So this could be related to your property and living circumstances. This could be related to family. On a different note, some of you may just all of a sudden decide that you want to change your diet. Maybe you want to become a vegetarian or vegan, and this could come out of left field. There may be cause for you to do so suddenly, and this could be coming through as an external influence where maybe for health reasons or spiritual or religious reasons, you're like, oh, I can't eat this anymore, or I can't drink this anymore. I'm going to need to make these changes. On a different note, this can see some of you guys investing in new ways to generate more income or more abundance into your life, but it could be a case where you need to spend money to make money. So you could be looking at potentially starting your own business. And on a different note, because this new moon is occurring at Pisces at 20 degrees in the second house, and the second house rules over your voice and your throat chakra, you could find that you're suddenly just feeling this urge to speak your truth. And it's 333 right now as I'm saying this. And maybe you're like, where is this coming from? I didn't even know I felt this way, or the words just come tumbling out. Or maybe there's a sense of urgency where you're like, I need to say this before such and such time because of, insert circumstance. Maybe there's like some time critical element. Maybe someone's going away. Maybe, you're looking at telling someone that you want to apply for a promotion or another job and the job's closing soon. I just see this like, I just get this feeling of some kind of like premature energy. But just remember, everything happens in divine timing. So even if you are suddenly saying something that you were waiting to say or you didn't want to say in this moment, just know that, it's coming out now because it needs to be said. On a different note, some of you could be looking at investing in gardening, cooking. So learning about gardening, learning about cooking, maybe starting a veggie patch. Maybe you're looking at learning more about your finances and resources and money management and budgeting and all of that sort of thing. On the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Pisces. So this means that Mars is transiting your second house, and it will be doing so for the next 5.5 weeks. Essentially, this is backup for this new moon energy. Okay, so in saying that, when Mars goes through the second house, I've noticed that this is a time where we spend a lot of money, but we can also be making money or working hard on making money. You can be cutting things out of your diet, getting rid of old possessions and resources, which I've already mentioned. Do watch out for inadvertently eating things that you happen to be allergic to or that set off some kind of health condition that you already have. So you do need to be careful of the foods that you eat. This was like a random download that came through, but careful when eating fish bones, especially if you have Aquarius children. On a different note, this can indicate that you're cutting out smoking or working on not biting your nails anymore. And this transit can indicate having a lot of success with those objectives, if that's what you're trying to do. And ultimately, this can also indicate a time where you are speaking a truth and saying things that you find difficult to say. Because wherever Mars goes, this is where we're challenged. And Mars rules your third house, which represents communications. So this can indicate that you're like, I need to say this, but it's really hard for me to say, and it takes a lot of courage and willpower for me to do so. On the 20th of March, the Sun is going to enter the sign of Aries, which indicates the start of the new astrological year. Now, every year when the Sun enters Aries, this is always the start of the new astrological year. But what's different about this new year is that the North Node is here with the Sun, which it has been for the last 18 or 19 years. So this indicates new, fast-paced, rapid-paced beginnings when it comes to your third house. So this can indicate upskilling, learning new things, getting qualified, getting new application, let's say diplomas, certifications, maybe a new apprenticeship is coming through. Maybe you're taking on an apprentice. This can indicate that you have so much energy to channel into business matters, working in small teams or groups, business ventures, projects, writing projects, documentaries, and so on and so forth. And this can also be a time where you make a lot of new friends, or where you have a lot of new clients coming through. So this can be an abundance of new clients, or like new client relationships that are forming and taking place. And for some of you, you may be, if not learning something new, then maybe creating your own content material, your own course material is what I mean to say. The downside of this, let's say, new astrological year's solar return chart, for want of a better term, is that Mercury will be conjunct Chiron at 18 degrees, or Mercury will be at 21 degrees, Chiron will be at 18 degrees, Aries in the third house. So there may be some discord with siblings, relatives, or friends, but there's also this wonderful opportunity to heal issues within certain friendships or relationships with your siblings. Lastly, on the 25th of March, there will be a full moon eclipse in Libra at 5 degrees in your 9th house. So the 9th house rules over your belief systems of all kinds. So this is spiritual, religious, political, as well as world events. It rules over travel, and it rules over other cultures and foreigners and education. So it rules over other things as well, which I'll get into in a moment. But ultimately, this full moon eclipse is occurring at 5 degrees, which is the Leo degree. And Leo, or the 5th degree, rules over romance, children. It rules over fun, creativity, and owning one's own business. So full moons, especially full moon eclipses, are all about the ending of a chapter or letting something go. So with this happening in your 9th house, I see that many of you Aquarians are going to be letting go of belief systems that no longer serve you, whether these are spiritual, religious, political, or to do with world events. And so If you have a seeing the glass half empty mentality, there's probably going to be a really big shift that's coming through for you. And many of you may just be walking away from certain uh, religious or spiritual ideologies or belief systems that no longer serve you, and upgrading to something which is more in alignment. And when I say upgrade, I don't mean that there's one which is superior to another. It's just whatever is, in alignment with you and your values and your soul and your life purpose. The ninth house is associated with teachers and mentors. So some of you may be parting ways with a teacher or with a guide, but for others of you, you could actually be stepping into the role of teacher or mentor or guide. I do want to make a note that with this full moon being at 5 degrees and trining Pluto at 1 degrees, I don't think that this is like the ending of something forever. I feel like something's on pause, or it's being transmuted or transformed into a higher vibration or into a different state of being. So for some of you, you could be realizing that you and your teacher or mentor are now peers, or they're learning something from you, or maybe that whole dynamic is shifting. And for others of you, if you are, let's say, having this big shift when it comes to your belief systems, I feel like you're going to be actually coming full circle and reverting to something that you used to believe in, or something that you used to be drawn to exploring, but which you never allowed yourself to explore. And basically, with the ninth house ruling over your sense of faith and optimism and adventure, I feel that many Aquarians are going to be connecting to their Dharma and feeling more inspired and feeling more optimistic about their future, and that somehow their faith in a certain vision or a certain trajectory for their life is being supported and reinforced by the symbols that they are seeing in their everyday life, whether that's angel numbers, whether you're experiencing certain messages being reinforced and reiterated back to you through other people, or through the books that you're reading or the music that you're listening to. In any case, I just see you guys having like a very spiritual experience around the 25th of March. Also, the ninth house is associated with travel, as I've said before. And so some of you guys may be going on a trip that you've wanted to go on for a while, or that's been delayed. If you have been traveling abroad for quite a while, this trip could actually be coming to a close now. And for others of you, this can be the important conclusion of some kind of legal matter. And lastly, I've come to realize that the ninth house is associated with relocating, if not abroad, then interstate. So it could be that you are, relocating abroad or interstate. And so, Aquarius, I'm now going to pull a word for the month for you guys. And then I'm going to be finishing on Pisces straight away. Oh, we've got the blank card. For some reason, there was a blank card which was included in this deck. So I'm going to pull another one. But my interpretation of this is that something which is a mystery to you, something that's thus far been difficult to decipher, or that's just been like an unknown for you, is going to be revealed during March. Now let's take one more with an actual word. Gentle. Okay. This indicates a need for you to be gentle with yourself, gentle with your goals and dreams. Don't push yourself too hard. Be careful of burnout. Underneath the deck, I have strength, which kind of backs up what I'm saying there. So I also feel like being gentle with others, especially those that you care about, is going to be very, very important for you for this month. So Aquarius, that's all I have for you for March 2024. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'm now going to be finishing up with Pisces, and then we'll be done for another month. Okay, but first, let me rehydrate. Okay. Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Risings. First and foremost, we're in eclipse energy, we're in eclipse season, and so your dreams may be crazy at the minute, and for the next, well, probably I want to say until mid to late April, because we have another eclipse on the 8th of April. So yeah, your sleep may be kind of all over the place. You may have trouble getting to sleep, staying asleep, insomnia, vivid dreams, unsettling dreams, or they could just be premonitions. I have to say, I do think that this will be a time of extremely heightened intuition for you. So lots of downloads of information coming through, sudden insights, sudden clarity. But of course, with eclipses, they always bring up very strong emotions, and these can go either way, right? So one day you may be happy and joyful, and the next day you could be crying, and then the next day you're back to feeling happy or pretty chill. So that is something to be mindful of. On the 10th of March, there'll be a new moon in Pisces, and this is in your first house, and it's at 20 degrees. So the Pisceans will be the most affected, will be those at 20 degrees or plus or minus 5 degrees. So 15 to 25 degrees, let's say. But still, a new moon in your sign is very worth noting. And really, it's all about you. The first house rules over your physical appearance, your aura, your demeanor, how you carry yourself. And it's also sitting on the axes of relationships. So aspects or transits to our first house can trigger changes in our relationship dynamics. With the new moon occurring in your first house at 20 degrees, this is the Scorpio degree. And the Scorpio degree is associated with sudden change and transformation. It's a very psychic and intuitive energy. And this new moon will be sextiling Uranus at 19 degrees Taurus, and Mars will be squaring Uranus. All right, so Mars and Venus will be squaring Jupiter and Uranus, actually, which means that there's a sense of urgency that comes through with this new moon. There's this impatience, this desire for change, this pivoting of direction. And to me, this indicates something unexpected, something we weren't planning. We thought we wanted to move in one direction, and then boom, actually, we want to take a hard left. I thought I wanted to go here. I thought I wanted to make this change. I thought my life purpose involved this. I thought I wanted to be in this relationship. I thought I was in love with this person. No, I'm not, so there could be some changes coming through. It doesn't mean that all of that is going to take place. Those were just a few random examples. The same can be said for your job. Maybe you are realizing around the 10th of March, I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like the path that I'm on. I don't like the industry that I'm in. I don't resonate with this work anymore. It's not in alignment with me anymore. And so a lot of you Pisceans will be making radical shifts and changes. And by the time, this new moon energy is over, you may have planted the seeds to make some drastic changes to your life. Maybe you'll have booked yourself in for a spiritual retreat, yoga retreat. Maybe you will have decided that you want to dress differently. Maybe get new piercings, take out piercings, get new tattoos, get tattoos removed, change your hairstyle, change like how you present. Maybe how you talk will even be shifting as well. So I feel like a lot of you Pisceans will be transmuting negative energy, toxic energy, just purging it and doing away with it. And that you'll come out of this period, probably, I want to say 4 weeks later, so around the 10th of April, give or take, and you may be looking different by this time. You may have um, started eating more healthily, started working out, started meditating, started getting more vitamin D, or doing things that nourish your soul and nourish your spirit. And maybe this is simply cutting out people or relationships which are toxic and which are dragging you down. Or maybe you're no longer going to be engaging with certain creative content that is negatively impacting you. Okay, so this can actually be related to music, because Pisces rules over music. So maybe you're choosing or opting for um, music genres that are more uplifting to your spirit. Maybe you are going to be working with sound healing, so maybe like singing bowls, or you're creating your own music. On a different note, with the Scorpio degree, this can indicate, let's say, vices, certain practices which are maybe taboo or which are just not serving your best and highest good. Some of you may decide that you want to cut out porn. And if you are looking for uh, material on this which supports that decision, if that's something you feel called to do, I would recommend reading Your Brain on Porn by Gary Wilson. It's a really, really fascinating read, which clearly draws connections and links between anxiety, depression, um, lower levels of libido, anorgasmia, and porn consumption. So that was a bit of a random tangent. On a different note, this can indicate that you are experiencing spiritual downloads which are so insightful and which are helping you to change your life and to make healthier decisions. And on a different note, this can also indicate that you are um, realizing realizing your true feelings for another person, whether this is you realizing that you still care for someone, or that you're in love with someone, or maybe that you've moved on. And maybe it's like, I thought that I wanted to be with this person forever, but actually I'm realizing that I don't have those feelings anymore, and I'm ready for a change of relationship status. Okay, so that's another way that that can be playing out for you. On the 23rd of March, Mars is going to enter the sign of Pisces, which means it's going to be transiting your first house for the next 5.5 weeks. So when Mars transits our first house, this can indicate a time where we feel more motivated, more goal orientated. We can be more gung ho about achieving these goals. It can actually indicate a great time for working out, building muscle, losing weight, as well as trying new things, being more adventurous, taking certain risks. You do have to be careful, though, of accidents and burnout. That's a high level warning for you guys. Don't push yourselves too hard, even if it's like at the gym. Like if it's day one, take a break. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to go all in and lift 100 kilos. Like you can build up to it. On a different note, Mars in the first house can fill you with confidence. Okay, confidence to throw your hat in the ring. Maybe this is for a job promotion, or to prove yourself in, or prove that you're capable of achieving certain things, or let's say improving certain areas of your life. And this can really just fill you with energy and motivation and drive. Okay, and even a higher libido as well. And you can be more magnetic and more attractive and feel more passionate around this time. So again, that's the 23rd of March for the next 5.5 weeks. On the 20th of March, we're jumping around in the timeline, and that's because the new moon and the Mars and Pisces transit go hand in hand. But anyway, on the 20th of March, the sun is going to enter the sign of Aries. So this is the start of the new astrological year. And what's different about this new astrological year is that the North Node will be in Aries at that time. And basically, we haven't experienced the North Node in Aries at the same time as the new astrological year commencing for like the last 18 or 19 years. So, with this happening in your second house, this indicates that there are new beginnings taking place, which are associated with your finances, your resources, investments, your ability to make money, generate income or a high level of income and more abundance into your life. Maybe a new interest in cooking or in gardening. And also, the second house rules over our I think I mentioned this before, but it rules over our throat chakra. It rules over our voice, speaking our truth, as well as our thyroid. So, with all of this being represented by the second house, there may be changes to your diet that you're making to support your thyroid health. On a different note, this is absolutely a year where you're going to be driven, pushed, and called to speak your truth more, to be honest, to put yourself out there, to not hold things in and to let them go in the moment. You may actually find that you feel called to sing, or you may be discovering a talent for singing, or you may just you may just feel like you want to sing more. Because Mercury is conjunct Chiron during this beginning of the astrological year, and it's in Aries in your second house, it may be difficult for you to say these things. It may be difficult for you to spit these truths out. It may be difficult for you to adjust your attitude to spending money, investments, making money, and generating new streams of income. But on a different note, it can just be like, hey, it's hard for me to say how I really feel, but that's what needs to be healed and that's what needs to take place. Lastly, for March, on the 25th of March, we're going to have a full moon eclipse in Libra at 5 degrees in your 8th house. Now, the 8th house is associated with Scorpio energy, and full moons, especially full moon eclipses, are all about a chapter coming to a close or an ending taking place. And this full moon eclipse will be trining Pluto, which is associated with Scorpio energy anyway, at 1 degrees Aquarius. So Pluto is very supportive and helpful of this eclipse energy that we're experiencing. So the full moon eclipse happening in your 8th house can indicate that deep healing is taking place for you, Pisceans. And this can be related to Leo matters. And I say that because the eclipse is at 5 degrees, which is the Leo degree. So this deep healing that's taking place may be associated with your inner child, children, your relationship with your child or with your children, your feelings towards starting a family and having children, or this could be deep healing when it comes to your love life, your romantic life, your significant other, or a past relationship. Now, the 8th house, as well as Pluto energy with the trine to Pluto, is indicative of this regenerative energy. Okay, so it's like transmutation and transformation. And because there's so much supportive energy alongside this full moon eclipse in Libra, I really feel that making these changes or transmuting this energy and going through this healing process isn't going to be as difficult as it might otherwise be with other eclipses. There's like this innate understanding that you have when it comes to what is going to best support your healing. And also, I actually feel like this indicates that there is some kind of opportunity for you to shift this relationship either with your child or with your significant other or with a past romantic connection from one state into another state. So it's like something about the relationship is being healed, but it's also being preserved so that you can connect with each other in a way that is not just healing, but mutually beneficial and which serves the best and highest good for you and them and everyone involved. The eighth house is associated with mutual resources as well as sex and fertility. It's a house of death and rebirth. So, a full moon eclipse in Libra can indicate that you are separating your mutual resources from another person. So, that's my cat, Franklin, really right at the end. One moment, guys. May as well take this opportunity. So, this can indicate that you are, like I said, separating your mutual resources from another person, or you, Franklin, Franklin, sorry guys, right at the end. And maybe this actually involves child support, because Leo, the fifth degree is the Leo degree. And ultimately, this can also indicate that you are perhaps having an occult or esoteric experience, which is profound and deeply healing in some way. So maybe something is being revealed to you, whether this is you getting a reading from someone else or doing your own astrological reading or perhaps tarot reading. And ultimately, this can indicate that you are having, Franklin, sorry guys, having certain, now he's scratching his post, oh my gosh, having certain epiphanies. And on a different note, the eighth house rules over our fears and insecurities as well as addictions. So this can see you actually overcoming certain fears, overcoming certain insecurities or addictions, and perhaps overcoming fears of intimacy with another person. So this can actually allow you and your significant other to access a much deeper level of intimacy where you feel safe to be vulnerable, and vice versa. And lastly, with this full moon eclipse in Libra in your fifth house, whatever emotionally difficult period you have been going through, this actually indicates an ability for you to heal from this completely and to let it go. So I actually feel like after the full moon eclipse in Libra, so after the 25th of March, or maybe even a month after that, you'll be feeling a lot lighter and feeling as though you're even capable of bringing your walls down and letting another person in. Even if that's not romantically speaking, even if this just allows you to be closer to your loved ones in your life, I do feel that that energy is going to be available for you. Okay, Pisces, lastly, I'm going to pull a word for the month and then we're done for March altogether. So this is your word for the month. Straight away, we've got the card Grateful. Okay. Another sign actually got this card, but in any case, I see this as there being things that you realize that you're extremely grateful for. And somehow I feel that these are connected to challenges that you've experienced, and you're understanding how all of this is interconnected, and that that something beautiful has been born from the challenges that you've experienced. I'm going to pull one more card just to sort of make up for the disturbance or the disruption right at the end of the reading. Grace. Wow, we've got grace and grateful. I feel like something that has been difficult for you to move through, something that has been really challenging you when it comes to being composed and having poise, is going to transition into a state where it's easy for you to have grace and be graceful. But I would also say that this indicates that it's important for you this month to give yourself grace and the time that you need to heal, to decompress, and to enact the changes that you want to see take place in your life. So Pisces, that's all I have for you for your March horoscopes. If you enjoyed this reading, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys tune in to my April 2024 horoscopes, because I will be discussing the exciting total solar eclipse in Aries, which is happening on the 8th of April, as well as the Mercury retrograde in Aries that we're going to see. And there's a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happening around the 21st of April, and that only takes place once every 12 or 13 years or so. So that's a big deal. Thanks again, everyone, for being here, and I will get the timestamps up as quickly as I can. Goodbye, and have an amazing March.